All right. Good morning, boys and girls. It's another
Cheers.
Friday morning. I'm gonna pack a bowl, and we have it's a week full of Mass and Rhode Island accents.
Yes, I love it. We're
What
we're
could
on an
be
East
better?
Coast theme. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me
So
tell Travis.
yeah, I'm excited. It's been a
Let let
turbulent
let
week.
let's not ruin the surprise yet.
No. It's my week has just been all over the place. So I,
Yeah.
I
So tell. All right. So what happened? Your garage,
so
electrical fire. Oh, there's
yeah,
Rodden.
so I had an electrical fire in my garage, and I recommend anybody, checking your electrical. So basically the previous owners had upgraded the uh, circuit breaker to a 30 amp circuit breaker and never upgraded the wire. So my wire was 15 amp going into a 30 amp. So the breaker, I don't even know what tripped it in the first place. I don't know how it tripped. And the breaker tripped. I set the breaker back and the wires just caught on fire in the attic in my garage. So as soon as I heard like the sizzling, I kicked my breaker off, ran outside. I could like smell burning plastic. So the fire department had it out within 7 minutes of like arriving to my house. From the phone call, it was a 10-minute process. So the wild
I mean
part,
that is I mean the fact that you were there and like immediately caught. I mean, yeah, your
yep,
house that's scary.
yeah, it was like best case scenario. And then, afterthought, all the shit starts running through your mind. Like, what if that had happened while I was sleeping? Like, all the things. And now I'm like paranoid about my entire electrical system in my house. So I'm, electricians, as soon as this is all done, I'm having electricians come over and basically like I'm putting a sub panel on my garage. I'm separating fucking as many circuits as I can from that one breaker. But yeah, it's been kind of up in the air. The crazy thing is like, hey, she immediately was
Who's
like, don't
raise
talk
your
to me.
hand if you're excited for school? What? You're too young to already never want to go to school.
Oh,
Do you know
school's
how
still
many more
fine.
years of school you have? Well, you're four now, so you have a lot of years left of school. How does that make you feel? Not
Your
good.
dad's pretty much a teacher. He teaches grown-ups.
What's that? You know what? So Pear, you know what? I think So Pear is mean to you because he likes you. Boys are a little weird when they like you. They're sometimes not so nice to you. But yeah, you stay away from So Pear today, okay? Tell So Pear you're not putting up with his doo-doo today. Okay, bye, Bambina. Okay, let me walk you out. All right, I'll be right back.
All right, all right.
You hold court.
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, like the whole time this is going on, I'm just freaking out. Well, they get it all put out, everything's good. Now I've got, you know, I had the electrical company come through and just kind of scope all the outlets in my house just to make sure there's not any like arcing going on in any of the current outlets we're using. I'm going to have them install sub panels so that everything just lightens the load on the one panel I have. Mitigation is coming through and basically like scrapping all of the stuff in my garage. All of the, like every, dude, my garage was an absolute junk pile. And it was kind of funny, like the scene, because I was the only one here. My wife was at work. So this all goes down. I'm still in my pajamas. 911 tells me to get all my animals out the house. So my dogs and I and my cat go out back. I know how fucking horrendous my garage is. So I'm standing there in my pajamas, like trying to wrangle my dogs, holding my cat, apologizing to the firemen for how messy my garage was. I was like, I gotta clean that up. I swear. I'm so sorry. Um, so almost all of the damage to the stuff in my garage was caused by insulation and water. So mitigation, these are the people that come through and like clean up everything. They're basically like, yeah, we're going to non-salvage everything in your garage. So they have to come through and photograph every single item that was in there. And just so you guys have a visual of what these people are in for. Let's see if we can. Come on, camera. There we go. Hey now. Oh, here we go. This is everything they have to document one at a time. It was way more organized in the garage. But yeah, lawnmower, chainsaw, like there's so much, so much grow equipment. It makes me cry looking at this. So yeah, I guess moral of the story is keep your garage clean and yeah, keep your garage clean, check your electrical, and make sure your home insurance policy has like good coverage on all of your shit. So we're covered up to 250,000 on things that aren't house. So like all of that stuff, if it came out to more than 250, we would only be given 250. So I'm really curious this whole process because they have to literally take that pile apart one piece at a time, catalog every tool, every screw, every eye bolt, like all my, like I had sets of bubble bags in there. The frame, like the 5-gallon buckets for like my frames, seed sifters. I had like honor the plant pots. These are like kind of blue plastic meshy pots. Them shits go for like $14 to $20 a piece. And I had like maybe 40 of them in various sizes, like probably 200 1-gallon like fabric pots, 3-gallon pots, 10-gallon pots, like all the gardening equipment, shit for my greenhouse, like all that stuff is in that pile. And I feel bad for the mitigation people, but yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. You guys still with me? I'm not used to just looking at myself. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to Peter, but yeah, garage fires aren't fun. And I'm so thankful that what happened, like the scenario was how it went down, because it could have been a lot worse. I'm also really thankful that nothing too serious as far as like sentimental stuff goes. So, that's all still here. Basically, I'm looking at it like this small mishap is allowing me for a garden upgrade. So I appreciate y'all. It's really weird, the coverage. Like, they're not going to cover any of the electrical because that's what caused the fire. But they'll cover everything that's not the problem, right? So, and even then, like if it's a code thing, there's a chance, but at the end of the day, like I'm just happy my majority, like we weren't displaced, my pets were okay. It was just ironically, my wife and I were planning on going and just doing a massive garage clean out, running a bunch of stuff to the dump and kind of doing this inventory and everything. And and we ended up just like we ended up getting this thing in the mail that was like, oh, you guys get a free dump run in May, blah blah blah. So we were like planning on doing all that, and then this happens, and now we like the amount of crap in our garage now, I'm like, fuck, I have room to build that into a hash lab, and my wife can still park her car, and I get to upgrade like my irrigation in the basement. I'm like, this was really a blessing. Like, God was telling me I was on some old shit, needed some new shit, so he helped me out a little bit. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Again, everybody is safe. That 99% of my house is absolutely fine. I am a little tweaked on the electrical, but I'll have that resolved by the time my house is built out. So it's all good vibes. I appreciate everybody's, concern and that stuff. But um, I it, I was talking to Miles yesterday, and I don't think he was intending to, but he really did put my situation in perspective because homie was on the road and his barn burned down. His whole ass barn burned down. And he wasn't even home. He got a phone call. So he's out on the road and he's for like a week, he's got to deal with all this insurance shit and not even see what's going on. So everything worked out so well for me compared to what it could be. So yeah, dude, it's all about perspective, and I'm just glad I'm looked out for. And you know, my my faith just says I have a guardian angel, and I'll leave it at that because I can't explain any of this ever.
No, it was a garage a circuit breaker slash
Yeah,
load related.
you
Um,
sound your audio sounds
yeah.
weird, Peter. Ah,
There we go.
yeah,
All right. So I was about before Carolina, my little angel. She's she's such a monster 99% of the time. So whenever I hear her screaming, I'm like, do I
yeah.
hear daddy's little angel? And she'll be like, stop it, daddy. Not funny. You're so rude.
Hey, cheers from Colorado too.
Someone asked, I just put up a couple more bottles of Tony's world famous toad venom.
Yeah,
Not to be confused with the I can't, if someone would just explain to me the toad venom strain drama.
I've been trying to
Uh
figure that out too. I don't know.
I
I'm
saw I
apparently
saw
still out of the loop.
Cornbread Ricky's post, I saw Archives post, I saw the stuff of the dudes who, and I'm like, I can't,
I don't know
like,
what I don't know what the deal is. It's I kind of stopped paying attention to all that after a while. Like if it's hyped on the commercial market and in that scene, I just don't even. I feel like all that back and forth is just like a marketing ploy at some point. So I'm like,
yes.
that from what I understand, it's just loud. That's from all the shit I've seen about it, it's just really loud. Like the toad venom cut is just really loud. That's
But then what's all the drama and the like, I created it, no, you took it, or you renamed it, and
yeah, because I think that's pretty common these days. Is like somebody gets a cut and renames the
so
cut.
it's this year's what do you call crappy weed? Why am I blanking? What was last year's?
Oh,
Someone help me in the chat.
I know what you're trying to say. I'm gonna take a bong rip so I
Boof,
don't have any.
super boof, super boof.
Yeah,
There we
yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. Like it's in my opinion, it's like a profile that nobody's seen in a while, or it's just unique enough and it's loud enough, and everybody wants credit, but nobody really. Probably just some F1 polyhybrid that somebody found out of something and named it, and then somebody got the cut and renamed it, and they're saying they claim. It's just that's why I say all the shit in the commercial scene I kind of stay back from, so I don't really ever know what's going on. But then when like some real heads pop out with some real shit and nobody's really heard of it and there's only a few people chatting about it and those people are like heady and they're talking about how dank, that's when I start like drooling a little bit,
Yes.
you know.
Chris and Ilaria. Was it the billing address is wrong? Uh,
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, I smoked a lot of this. This is a Nepalese land race.
mm, mm. I've been pretty much just smoking hash. I ran out of, like, I smoked my last flower joint the other day, and now it's just been like a little bit of the shake on the bottom of all the jars, and then just a fat fucking hookup with hash. I got a little taster coming today. I'm excited.
Okay, so sorry, I'm going to
Oh, I was going
give.
to say the toad venom thing. It was funny because the only reason I got invested in that toad venom was I swore, I was like, that's Tony's strain. I swear to God, he has something called toad venom. And then I knew he had this like whole toad line. I was like, did somebody jack Tony's shit? Like, what the fuck? And then I realized, I was like, oh, that his toad venom is in the STS mix, I think, which slaps, by the way.
Okay, hold on. Oh, is Dave, so Dave's now working on Fridays?
Yeah, he's been like trying to hustle because he wants to expand his grow. So he hooked up with these commercial homies. We kind of met through like Wendy Kornberg and Miles. There was like a handful of people in the KNF community that pointed him out. And I ended up going out to visit Chris Trump. He was like consulting on this farm for a while. So I went out and visited Chris, and he kind of showed me the KNF methods that they're using in this like indoor greenhouse facility. And so David's actually, I think, on their harvest crew. So I don't know what he's doing on top of that, but that's kind of what he's been doing on Fridays, is going to work on that harvest. What'd you say,
That's
Tony?
fine.
I missed it.
Tony has
Poison toad. Yeah, that was the one I was mixing with the toad venom, and then his like that had me, dude. I was ready to fight somebody over that for you, Toad. Legit. Like, I was like, they better not be taking his shit.
sorry, just quickly, Chris, did you email me about a wrong shipping line in the shipping address? I just responded to that person. Um, oh, sorry, let me. Okay, sorry. I keep getting distracted, and all I wanted to do is smoke this. And then
Yes.
when we're done, I gotta go check on plants that are on the other side of the 405.
Yeah.
I actually have a whole bunch of red lab pucks going into flower right now.
Oh my God. I want to put plants inside so
Oh
bad
my
right
gosh! Speaking of, you say red lab puck, and it's like
now. You say it 3 times and he
you
shows
get the
up.
He
top of
shows up,
Kevin's
man,
head.
like fucking Candyman, baby. Oh,
There
what,
he
Joe?
is. What up, Charles?
Woo! Man, it is
Wow,
beautiful
you
here in
bring that
Maine.
brick
I've
you
been,
bring that brick wall with you everywhere.
yeah, no, I have to, man. I have to, because otherwise you get to see the real life behind us. You know what I mean?
Love it.
But we're in a gorgeous spot, man. We're in this beautiful like cabin, kind of like cabin mansion. You know, where it looks like a cabin, but it's fucking huge,
Oh, that's
and
what's
it's on
up.
a lake, and the whole lake is frozen, and it's gorgeous. Goddamn, this is like luxurious Maine.
A pair of bald eagles out on the lake early this morning as the sun was coming up,
Yeah.
just dancing in the sky. It was
Nice.
gorgeous.
And we were hungover as fuck, like high hungover, where we smoked too much last night, and you laugh because it's like that doesn't happen too often.
I know it.
It don't happen too often, right?
After the day long smoke sessions, yes.
Fuck that. We didn't even smoke that many. We just a couple bombers. We rolled the original bomber, and then we rolled a hash bomber, and that shit. I had to put the joint down for a minute, man. It was like the only thing I can really compare the high to is kind of like a real Chem D, where when you puff really well grown Chem D, There's a longevity to the high that is different. It grabs you and you chill with it, kind of like haze, but haze is this beautiful lift off and this ride and then this gentle fucking slope out. That's not ChemD. ChemD kick you square in the balls and you're like, oh, and you're all fucked up, and one of your eyes won't work, and your mouth is stuck together, and you're trying to ponder the fucking world. That's what that shit was like. It was and we got Big Kirk, who's the holder of it, and Caleb, the highest critic. He's here. He went to pick up Alex at the airport. So Alex Sherman's coming in this morning too. He wasn't here last night. He had to handle some. He did an event at Woody's in WeHo. So they had like a cannabis pairing kind of event in SoCal.
Wait, who? I missed that part. Who is in LA?
Alex Sherman. So Alex Sherman, he's a phenomenally talented kids.
Homie is dope. What
like
the damn health on Instagram? Alex is a G, dude.
He's a great kid, but he's brilliant in like a whole bunch of different shit. Where he's a culinary wizard, and he just did back-to-back extract wins at the Humboldt Cup. So he's an excellent extractor, excellent selector. Really, really lovely guy, but man, he's just fucking talented, and he's got a superior palate and olfactory abilities. So his ability to do like product pairing, I've never seen anybody do it the way he does it, where he creates all these aroma waves from like, this is the hash we're going to pair with these drinks and these foods, and I created the foods and the drinks for each course to specifically accentuate the qualities of the product. So he gets the products in, evaluates them, and then creates culinary experiences around the products that let you go through these really interesting waves. And I'm not a chef, man. I like to eat food, but I'm not the guy that you know. I could cook steak, you know what I mean, and I know how to fry a fucking egg pretty well. But when it comes to like complicated combinations, I'm not that guy. But this fucking dude is without question talented.
Yeah.
So I had him come in with Caleb, and Caleb's Caleb Chen, the highest critic, and Caleb's aside of being a lovely guy, man, he's really doing something fascinating where he's really mapping out as much of the history of cannabis as possible and getting it recorded and really trying to track down all the people that were involved in all the different stories so that he can really try to find what was the truth of the story, so that what we have is we have some archival material for our era, because all of us were living in the illegal world. Nothing was recorded, right? And so everything is just what was. And if you're able to like actually get some kind of continuity, we can understand, hey, these gene pools are these gene pools. And we were talking about it last night, because what we realized was that if we go back, like, you know, it's like my beginning is like in the 70s, we go back into like the 70s, 80s, there's only so many different variations of herb coming in because we're getting them from overseas. And when we start having American domestication, we only have so many various gene pools we're playing with then too, because it wasn't the proliferation of access. So because people couldn't get access to a multitude of things, because there wasn't a multitude of things fucking available easily, you got to see commonalities. And the discussion was that, like, you know, what was some of the commonalities that allowed like some of these crazy aromas to be present, not just in New York and California, but, you know, in Colorado and Florida. How did these aromas? And we realized that it was because there was some inception seeds, inception genes that got disseminated, and it spread. And we're just trying to understand better those clusters to help us understand, because when we were looking at this yesterday, what we found was that, like, when you dry the product fast, you lose that ultra resonance. But what comes out is it comes out these crazy fucking burnt rubbers and almost like chem aromas. And it started to make me really wonder, like, once we can get some, you know, really good genotyping to be able to start to really kind of dig into all the things, what are the little things that touch that made it similar? Because we would say, like, all the chem stuff is dog bud, like out of Paonia, which is out of Colorado. What was the inception of that?
Shout out Western Slope, baby.
And yep, it was the Western Slope, and it was also like the source of the material, because we were seeing it in the East Coast, we were seeing it in California, we were seeing it spread out, but there's similar, it's similar source material, and depends how it opened up. So we get the package, and I already knew that the aroma was fucking insane from the package that had got stolen, right? So
hold on. Before you get into that, I gotta say, we gotta introduce Charles.
Oh yeah. No, we're over here just chopping up. I'm thinking, because I'm in my mind. I'm just fucking talking to you, Charles Stockstill.
Well, we could all listen to you chat forever, Kev. So I was like, all right, we got to get into this. Charles.
Yeah, no, bro. Give him some spit, Charles. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Charles Stockstill, the Old Man of the Mountain here. Just sitting with my mentor, Kevin, who helped me design the Old Man of the Mountain all the years ago to get the tasting experience with Upstate Gardens up here in Maine, which we're not too from. So it's kind of a full circle moment for me. I picked him up at the airport that the last time I was at. I went to go see him and get certified out in Humboldt, California. So pretty neat moment to be here and talk about the skunk and figure out exactly where it lies out and what we can do with it. And be awesome to be back on SVP with you guys. It's been several years since I've been able to attend one.
Horse's Mouth, how did you stumble on the skunk?
It's so hard to get time to be with you guys.
And Kirk, and it's Charles that called me on the phone saying that, he had located it, because Kirk, who had discovered it, wasn't aware that it was that rare.
Yeah, just like you guys, I've been looking for it for like 20, 25 years, looking for the skunk I had as a teenager and wondering where it went. And I can't believe I found it up in the very tippy top of Maine, basically Canada.
Yeah. No, and with the irony is that my family, like, I'm a Rhode Islander, but I'm the first generation of Rhode Islander. All my family for the 330 years lived in the same house in Maine, not far from here, just up the fucking street on the coast. So it's crazy. Yeah, for real. So it's crazy to be back in Maine where, like, my whole land, it's just the irony is mind bending. I'm like,
Kev's like, shit, I left those seeds somewhere. I knew it. I knew I left them up here somewhere.
You left them. And it's pretty fucking neat. So
it's get like a Hunter S. Thompson moment in time that you're in it, and I stepped back from it over the last 5 months and just I can't believe what's going on in Kirk's life, my life, and it's astounding. Thanks for everything you guys have done over the years just to put me in a position to find this kind of stuff and teach, train, and do all the GA student groups with Jeff and find that baseline, and none of it would have been possible without all that.
Yeah, no, it's wild. So have you guys all kind of sat down and burned on it, or are you still kind of waiting for the group sesh?
Oh, fuck no. We've been smoking the fuck out of it as soon as we got
we got one ready to go.
That's what I'm saying. So
no. When you get it in your hand, as soon as it got in the car, they gave me a fucking brick of it, like in a sealed container, and I was like, no, let's just go smoke at the house where you can sit down and like we can smoke.
Right.
And what I saw was that because we wanted to have it happen, we got here. He sped up the drying process, and it changed the aroma, and it's still stunning, but it's the lessons we're trying to understand about with all things we work with. What's the combinations you put together to create the totality?
What makes it lean one way or another?
So, and what gave it the explosion? So I was like, okay. I said, I already know the aroma was fucking lingering and loud and wouldn't leave the box that was sitting on the table for days at my spot. And I said, this one is, so we lost some of that hypervelocity, but we developed a lot of these crazy burnt rubbers. I mean, fucking foul. So,
like drag strip burnt rubber. Yeah, as soon as you open the jar.
The rollability was beautiful. So like when we ground this shit, it fucking rolled perfectly like living sand. And the dry hit was fucking A+, man. It was this whole series of aroma charges coming through the mouth, but clearly defined and lingered in the mouth and stayed. And
watching that nostalgia hit Kevin as he did the dry hit and smoked halfway down that first J was one of the best moments in my cannabis life ever.
So
watching that's spark come back to Kevin's face.
The happy
face. Where have you been?
So I'm curious, like is skunks supposed to be skunk? This is one of the things that, being a little bit on the younger side, I don't know. Skunk is skunk. Like, is it like that roadkill, or is it like?
What I found is though that this has that dead skunk aroma, and it has that longevity, but it's directly connected to slowing down the dry process to retain those hypervolatiles. And then once you slow down that dry process to retain it, for whatever reason, they remain and you don't lose it from that point forward. But if you speed up the dry, you take away some of the dead animal aroma, and out comes all these incredible petroleums, and like you're peeling the fucking tires off of a muscle car on the road.
So it's not only
like
genetics, but it's really your post-harvest process that's going to lock in what everybody's like on that skunk train.
No, because the whole point was cause I knew the aroma was right when he sent me the sample, right? So I said, all right, we're good there. But I didn't get to smoke it because it got stole. So what I wanted to know was, and because this is the truth with a lot of this stuff, was that most people, if at that era when you smoked those plants, they weren't really popular with light smokers and with like a lot of women, because it was fucking aggressive. It was a heavy, powerful, full mouth, and it wasn't in vogue into the widespread diffusion. It wasn't like Skittle where everybody wants to puff it because it's just this breezy little experience, right?
Off-putting.
It made your fucking eyes turn red. It should make one of your eyes close. It was just really fucking encapsulating in its intensity, right? Which is what I wanted. So it wasn't like I was seeking something that was going to satisfy every consumer. It was something that satisfied people who really liked extreme examples. But what I wanted to know was, because from the skunks I had in the collection, some of them were all aroma and rough flavor, and then some of them had really beautiful subtleties. And so I needed to sit down and like, what is it like as a consumption experience? And now that we know how to better describe it, like when I was younger, I loved weed, but we learned how to create a lexicon so that we're able to better describe and define what are the experiences, what do you get? And so we take it and we go, oh, this fucking shit's raw. And the smell is incredible, and it's leaking clear through the fucking glass package it's in, right? So this stuff is leaking out all over the fucking room. But in a fuel, raunchy, burnt rubber. And the other piece that had gone through like that 14, 15-day stabilization, this only went through like 7. It changed it from that animal death into this death, right? So both hella sexy, but what I wanted was that original aroma. So when I popped it, I said, oh, fuck, the speed drying you guys did to get, because we wouldn't have been able to experience it if they hadn't rushed the process, so to speak, right? It would have still been wet. So I'm like, all right, let's see all the qualities. And so we grind it up, and it just fucking filled the fucking room, and you're like, no, that is beautiful. And the rollability was money. We get into the dry hit, and it was just epic, where it was just a flavor explosion that didn't leave your mouth. And it was heavy in that same, like that, they call that raunchy, but like different than like puck funk, which is more like a wet basement. This is like decomposition above that. So like if we would say puck is funky, we would say this shit right here is George Clinton. Like there's funky, and then there's George Clinton funky.
Right. It's beyond dank, and now like
a little extra glide in the stride.
That motherfucker, it goes,
funky.
right? So I'm like, okay, we're good. So we smoke it, and it was beautiful mouthfeel. So like really like silky in the mouth, but absolutely encapsulating. So your whole mouth was coated in that oil. And when you blow it out, you got some beautiful subtleties that came out. So like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of this old Nepalese I used to smoke back in the mid 90s. And to me, like Nepalese at that time was better than Afghani and Pakistani. And it was more refined. So like Pakistanis, Afghanis were more coarse, like great hash, but rougher as smoke. Whereas for whatever reason, because Nepal was smoked, charas, and sift, you seem to get a better cross-section of material that worked better for like our American smoking needs. And I had a Nepalese that was unfucking real. And it had all those little delicate notes, which is what made me kind of say like, whoa, is that in the gene pool? And like, we don't know, but
because it's super complex.
It's complex.
Trying to dissect it.
And so I blow it out, And I started to fucking gag. And I was like, oh, there you go. That shit was aggressive. And then all of a sudden, you know, one of my eyes closed.
And then at this time, he's talking to the joint. We have all disappeared from the room.
Yeah,
Him and the joint are on their own level.
Yeah, no, I fucking went in. I did. I lost track of who was in the space. And it was me and the weed. And I was talking to it. And I was like going back through time because it's been such a long time that I smoked. Like if you were in the room right now, Jeff, you'd be like, whoa, that is a complete experience. Ultra
I know,
pungent.
I'm trying to get that whole thing through this video, so
Smell-o-vision.
Oh,
we gotta
dude,
get it
it's
happening.
just what it was a beautiful totality. So we burned the joint. We're like, holy fuck, it's epic. So we're gonna have the hash here in like, you know, the Kirk, they'll show up. We'll have the hash here, so we'll be able to show you the hash and shit. We had made hash and rosin. But
which I haven't even seen yet myself.
We had finger hash.
Months,
so we had finger hash. Caleb takes the finger hash and rolls it into a snake, and that shit rolled black, fucking like a piece of spaghetti instantly. Like I'm talking, the malleability of it was phenomenal. Right. And we put it into the next joint, and that shit basically fucked us up, man. Like I had to put the joint down and chill for a while, and I don't know if I've been that high in that direction in a minute. So very different than like the moderns where they give you this incredible spike and then you taper off quickly and you kind of come out of it. This one was like you shot right the fuck up and you just stayed up.
It ain't letting go of you.
No, it ain't letting go. It's got an ultra long duration and the impact was heavy but it was balanced too, oddly enough. So like both body and mind were impacted fully.
And this was about 6 o'clock at night. None of us went to bed till about 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I didn't go to bed till fucking closer to 3. And
So that was going to be my other question. Actually, is like, I'm sure I don't know. You know, Alex is around my age. Caleb is around my age. They really haven't.
Yeah.
So
no, they've never experienced
these
these aromas or flavors. For Caleb, it was the first time he ever got to experience these type of directions. And what we were all able to take a look at is like, whoa, and that's why we think there's got to be similarities, commonalities in the dog bud and all the things that created the chems and the burnt rubbers. I had we're getting it all sequenced, and I ran a bunch of like true skunk ones and stuff. Like I got the original cheese out of the UK sent to me, right? So I know that's like an 88 skunk one. And then we can compare it to Dave Watson's COAs and genotype and report. So we can try to take a look. And it's really to kind of find out, because I have a 88 skunk that is epic. And Seth from Oregon CBD uses it in his lines, right? So they use that skunk I provided in some of his breeding lines. And it's just fucking stellar. And I got it out of the crew in Spain, right? So it was held in Spain. It was used as a pollen receiver for a seed group, and I get a hold of it, and it was just really a nasty pencil eraser, burnt rubber type skunk one, but really leaning towards that Afghani side and maybe more the Mexican influence, you know. The dog buds, the chems, and from my early era of like, you know, the 90s, early 90s cultivation, there was varieties that had all those similarities, and so we were just trying to kind of understand, since there was so few real gene pools present in America, what was used and taken to create the commonalities, because we can see the resemblance now. And it was funny, me and McCormick were arguing about, and he was saying, you know, Northern Lights is probably, you know, part of it. And I was like, Todd, you're trying to sell your seeds. I don't think he's wrong now. So I take it back, Todd. And even though you might have been trying to sell those seeds, I see it. Well, I talked to Dwight too, right? So Dwight Dyout from Canada. Dwight's probably one of the most knowledgeable people I know about European cultivation. And it's not that he went and bought seeds in Europe and played chess with somebody. He was fucking Neville's business partner for 30 years. So if you're Neville Showmaker's business partner for 30 years, I think you have a pretty good idea what the fuck was going on in the seed game. And right. Dwight's somebody who doesn't need to increase his value, right? So you get an honest fucking answer from him. So like, I love talking to Dwight, because what I get is, this is what we saw, this is what we experienced, this is what occurred. I don't give a fuck what story anybody's hearing. I was in the room, I saw it fucking happen, this is what took place. So it just helps me really start to understand what influence came over from Europe that impacted the United States and what was brought in from the Americans that collided. And you can start to see the similarities, right? Like, I wish we had it all in the room because we'd all be able to go through all the different directions and say, they've got to be fucking related somewhere back in their ancestry. But some of them took the route of the dirts. Some of them went into the complex. Some of them went into fuel. Some of them went into the fucking animal, which is what that skunk was. But what we learned too from the work was, depending on how you dry it, it really, without question, impacts that resonance of that specific aroma and how long that aroma lasts in the space. But this stuff is fucking reeking this aroma out the joint. You put the joint on the table. It's a fucking incense in the room.
Are you getting like match heads off of it as it's just sitting here?
Yeah, chemical. There's
like the Strike Anywhere box of matches is kind
sulfur.
of
It's you're getting
sulfur.
that. You're getting
So
those
I
high
was gonna
sulfurs, but you're
ask
getting
if
like
people were-
heavy bonded sulfurs that don't leave, and you're getting lightly bonded sulfurs that are flashing. So when the fan was on last night, every time the fan moved, it would whip the aroma out of a dry joint and fill the fucking space. So like, that's not what that's the whole point of this stuff is like
it's got that high thing.
Yeah. What people don't catch about like my obsession with it. It's different than what people believe. It's not that I'm so obsessed with the aroma of a dead skunk. It's that particular dead skunk aroma, to me, whatever reason, it held an aroma that didn't dissipate. And all I've been asking all these years is, may I please find it again so that I can have real scientists essay it.
Right.
Because now what we have is we have the ability. So we got a guy coming in from MIT that's going to rap with us. And he has access to the largest plant phytochemical database on Earth for pharmacological research. And so what it does, it lets him have an ability to assay 500 molecules, right? Where we're looking at fucking 20 on a COA. He can look at 500. And so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to get an understanding of what is it that makes an aroma linger for so long with such volatility, but no incredible diffusion. So volatility, how it sparks, diffusion, how it moves. And then I use this word, I don't even know if it's right in the aroma lexicon, but it's resonance. It fucking doesn't leave the space.
And it sticks to things.
It's what makes it so clingy, what makes it want to stay on your clothes. And we've never had the ability scientifically to look at it, but now we do, right? We got the ability to look at it and find out what are the molecules that make that happen. And can we, which is what I want to know, can we take that information and use it to impart better resonance in other varieties so that we can impact the osmocosm, we can impact the world of aroma? Nobody understood that. It was like, it wasn't that I was obsessed with the aroma. I was obsessed with the fucking fact you can't get rid of it in a room.
Well, right. It's just layers. And that's kind of what I was going to ask, like kind of asking earlier is like, when you say, like when you get on the interwebs and you say skunk, everybody's just assuming this flavor and aroma of roadkill.
Totally,
like,
but the thing is, most people
that's
have no
only,
idea.
Yeah, that's only part of the picture. There's this loud that comes to it, and then, like you're saying, this resonance, this ability to penetrate walls and
through a house, come through the glass container, stay in your clothes. They can steal it out of the box, and the box reeks on your desk 2 days after the little bud was stolen out of the box. The whole box stinks. Everyone in the house is asking, what the fuck is that? That's the riddle, right? And it's when I tell people all the time, I said, a lot of you that want skunk would not be happy because you guys are been raised on very different flavor profiles. You're used to most people are used to the candy gas. Candy gas goes back like 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Right. 210 is when cookies kind of really fucking takes off, right? You know, and that
delicate sensibilities.
So we're going back 16 fucking years. We go into cakes and cookies kind of dope, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for most people, for the last 16 years, all they know is cake and cookie dope, and it's not meant to be a derogatory statement. It's just that flavors and profiles go in cycles, And when you miss the cycle, you miss it forever because those plants get removed from the libraries of the nurseries and new plants take their place. And then when the cycle returns into desirability again, you don't have any of the original source material. Like, that's our sin of cannabis, is that we always lose the fucking source material. Yeah. And I'm someone that's been holding plants for fucking ever, right?
Well, it's wild because there was, I started smoking and growing really, really, really close together. And this was like early, like 2000, 2001. And I was, ever since the skunk topic has come up, I've often flashbacked to like bags of brick that I've gotten that just absolutely wrecked my house. Like, I'd have them in a dresser drawer. My dad would come home and smell it in the living room. And I'm recalling this going, it's kind of like the last end of that material that's lost.
Yeah, the start material. We got a guy. There's a guy named Brian Shepard, right? He lives in Mexico, and we call it like Latin America, so all the Americas he's been in, but like last 30, 40 years. And he's done one of the most comprehensive collections of those gene pools of anybody I've ever met. And he has maybe like 40 lines that he's collected and fucking worked on and held that reflect all of like Mexico, Central America into South America. And he and I were talking about it because
there's some cool stuff in there.
Oh, he's got some fascinating shit. He's a great guy too, like absolute fucking stallion of a dude. But his opinion on it was that I think that some of these Mexicans that I've worked are directly involved in some of these aroma profiles. And so what we're going to do is he's going to crack some of the seed and get me some stem material so I can send it in and get it sequenced, because now we have, through True Cultivar, right? I got 1,100 plants in that database that lets me look at patterns. And then because we have the AI interface with the patterning, it lets me use the AI to start to say, what do you see that I can't see through, the ATCG code, right? You got 4 fucking proteins that are spread out a trillion different directions. It's really hard to look at those things the same way a computer can look at it. So it helps us take a look and say, help me understand, are these related in what degree? So that maybe we can start to understand really what were the foundation bricks that made it. Because we always say that aroma only came from like Afghanistan pot. When I go to Pakistan, I go and smell all the dead animal shit. And it makes sense because there's no bees, right? So there's no pollination ability other than wind, and plants want multiple pollination pathways. So you create the smell of rotted meat and decay, and that brings in dung beetles and other things that'll then fuck around with the plant and then pollinate it. So like once I got to see it in person, I got you, man. Like the plant's just doing this thing. But we make the assumption that aroma strictly coming from like Afghani, Pakistani side, and it's there. So we look through those gene pools, we can't find the fucking smell. And you start to realize that it's when you're combining these, which really was so much of it. Mexico never gets any fucking credit, right? Their foundation in United States cannabis development, because we stole their word, we stole their smoking culture, and then we basically fucking exclude them from any of the credit. But Mexico, absolutely, because of its 30 to 13 latitude, it's got some of the best fucking growing conditions on earth. And it's got a culture of people who love to smoke mota. And their location, their situation gave incredible diversity. And their culture was a smoking culture. So you had this unbelievable cannabis appreciation. And so the thing is, when we're always talking about weed, we never fucking talk about Mexico. We talk about Colombia and fucking Afghanistan and Thailand. And really, it's Mexico that brings like the hidden elements in. And so that's why I'm asking Brian to crack some of the seed that he has and just send me a piece of stem material so I can sequence it. And so we can start to use some of the modern tools we have to find out the relationships, so that it just helps us as developers find, what do you use to create certain things? Because salt by itself is different than salt and pepper. And typically most dishes benefit from salt and pepper. You want that combination, that I would say like the duality. And so we're trying to find out, because at the end of the day, what it does, it lets us create different directions and satisfy people that not everybody. And it's like I said, I'm not against candy gas. I think like there's a melanata cut I got from Grandiflower years ago that just killed it on my hill, and that's a fucking watermelon skittle to like a wedding cake, or you know what I mean? So I mean, it's as esoteric as it can fucking be, but it was unfucking godly good. So Mark from Grandiflora fucking nailed that breeding, and that plant shined outside in a biologically driven Humboldt grow, and it was so fucking good that I could put it against like anything in terms of just sheer quality. So it isn't like I'm anti-candy, right? Some of my fucking favorite smokes are candy. But when I don't want to smoke candy, what am I going to smoke? You only have a couple choices. And what I see is COA steering has fucked us. It's fucked us because yield has to be in present, which it does, but we go so far with it that it cuts the outliers out, and then we say it has to be above a certain number, and it has to do this, and it has to have that, and it has to have a visual appearance, it has to have a shine. And you really take a look at all the herb that shines that's covered in trikes, they have no fucking heads. So you have all this herb that we built to create visuals and the things of today.
It's a very narrow bandwidth.
It's a narrow bandwidth, and it doesn't give you, for me personally, it gives me this very aggressive high and then a very quick drop.
Right.
And you basically got to go hit. And what I remember from the era of these ultra powerful skunk plants, and skunk one is a word used, and just because it's skunk doesn't mean it's skunk one, right? But it doesn't mean it's not skunk one, because we had super skunks that were Afghani back to skunk one that were fucking phenomenal, and I had those in the collection, and they were without question roadkill aroma. So for whatever, and I know those seeds came direct from Holland in the early 90s, right? So I know the person that brought them over, I know the person that cracked them, I know we smoked and said, holy fuck, man, I want one of those cuts, that shit's fucking real. But it was a more commercial version because it had been put into a chassis that had like a 52-day finish, right? The stuff that I had that was more skunky was more like, 65 to 70 day. And so it was in a variety of morphologies. I had a whole collection of them, right? Like that was the trendy thing for me, was to collect things that had skunk profiles, just like it is now to have candy profiles. Back when it was gas, you had gas profiles.
Right. What's this grow like, Charles? What's its morphology? How's this thing show up as a plant? How's the resin show up?
We'll get you some fucking photos of this shit. Like I'm telling you right now. Talk to me about this lady, man. Ooh, let him know, Charles.
Sorry, what was your question?
What's her morphology? What's she grow like?
How's it grow? What's it look
like?
How's
the plant?
Oh,
yeah.
Man, this stuff growing looks like something out of back of the 1980 seed catalog. Like it's got the open, closed, alternating bud that grows from different points. So that, like, you got the top one there. We don't have a big one here.
If you take a look at the SSSC catalog, right? There's a picture in the old SSC catalog. It's fucking identical outdoor to that plant. I'm telling you, man. Like,
I know it's disappearing in your background.
It looks like it's in Star Trek, right? They're beaming. It's beaming to me. Beam it to me.
How the fuck am I getting it in the picture? I'll get it closer.
It looks like light.
Hold your palm behind it.
There you go. Because it's got me ghosted out. You notice he's clear, but I'm a ghost, so it sees him better.
But explosive. He shoots it. He shoots it short because it wants to blow up in height, right? So he's done them outdoor, and he said he's got them up to almost 14 feet tall.
She branchy or like to stay real clustered together?
I would say think about maybe like inverted umbrella.
Oh, dope.
Right? So my wrist is the
shape.
stem. The branches all come out in that inverted umbrella form, that, spread out.
So it fights for apical dominance pretty easy. Like
big heavy fucking spears, not overly leafy. What I like about because I got to see all his photos of it, right, from all the different grows. What I like is that it's kind of like it spirals around the stem.
Like a staircase.
That's what I mean by that.
Oh, the GMO does that.
So you get really good light penetration. He's done it outside in Maine. That's how he originally started fucking with it. But zero botrytis, zero mold problems.
And we have a very short growing cycle
first of October, fully finished and ready to go. But when you put it in, it explodes. So he shoots him as a really short clone and gets him up to 30, 36 inches height.
And then she wants to get those legs.
Yeah,
you got to slow them down.
You just let me know when I can have
greasy
it run at her.
One of the greasiest plants I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, we're gonna go check them out at the spot later on. But like when I was talking to Kirk's son, it basically, when you de-leaf it, it's literally spurting liquid out onto your hands when you break leaves off. So it's almost got like a higher than normal turgidity. You know, the water pressure is different. Mm-hmm. And I haven't had a chance to go fuck with the plant, but I'm talking to the guys that are growing it, and they're like, dude, it's just so fucking rank and oily and wet. But what got me was, he goes, but when I leaf it, he goes, the liquid literally spurts out of the fucking petiole onto my hand. And he goes, and the boy's been with his dad for a long time. So like a lot of us, like you've touched a lot of weed. It's rare to see that when you snap a petiole, you're getting liquid to pop out under pressure.
Yeah.
So it's built to fucking grow. Like what I want to see it up on my farm.
That's what I'm saying. I need to see it out here in Colorado.
Yeah, it would be great up on the slopes of Colorado. So it's killer. So we're trying to figure it out, and we know what we want to do. And it was funny because there was all this fucking drama online about, you're gonna try to sell clones and seeds and make money. And I said, no, not at all right now. That's not the point. It's not a money grab, because I'm 60 years old. I don't really need to try to fucking grab some kind of fleeting smoke so that I can fucking be somebody for a day. What I wanted was, could we please get these type of products in our hands so that we can let diagnostic indicators help us understand what the fuck it is? What I want to know is, can we improve the quality of the cannabis population for consumption by better understanding longevity of high, and for understanding the resonance? And what I got lucky on was I got brought into this commercial breeding operation in Germany, but it wasn't for cannabis. It was for commoditized crops, right? It was for corn, wheat, sorghum, rice, all that shit. And they don't even do the breeding. They're a fucking AI company that does the analysis of the genotypes for the major corporate entities that do the breeding. So like they would work with like Syngenta. So Syngenta would do all the breeding. They would send it to this German company, and the German company would do the AI overlay. And what it did was so I get brought into the company. I get to fuck with them on that. And then I get to work with all their breeders that are all brilliant, fucking accomplished, commoditized crop breeders, and how they use AI. How are we using the tool? What is it letting us do? And what it does is it lets them take fucking almost 60% off the development cycle. So corn typically takes 10 fucking years. They're able to do corn now in like 4.5, right? And get a beautiful crop. It's purely about using the AI to look at the sequences and help choose the breeding partners. And so I got brought in to help them understand, how would you use AI in cannabis? And I got to work with all the teams. And what they brought me in for was, what questions do we ask the AI? What are the important things that you want to focus on? And I said, listen, the thing that I want to focus on primarily, that I think is the number one thing that consumers need, is to understand duration of high. We need to understand how to breed it in a way that's very clear, where this type of cannabis lasts for 3 hours. So, and for me, it was about medical applications. And I said, listen, the one group of people that really never get any focus on is really medical patients. And the irony is, they're the single most stable client you can have. If somebody has medical need in cannabis, if you're somebody who's a fucking shop seller and you got people who buy medically, realize that as long as you give them what they want and give it to them at a reasonable price and make it fucking straight, they will buy that shit over and over and over and over and over and over and never fucking deviate. They're not looking for dope du jour. They're not looking for trendy shit. They're not looking to try some new shit. They want shit that works for their specific need that they've located. And for me, I got polarized with medical cannabis because I didn't have medical cannabis issues, right? I'm a nut. I smoke because I'm a fucking a lunatic, not because I have like reoccurring pain issues. And what I saw was that it was the money that fucked them up. They couldn't afford the herb. And that's really where the whole high THC number comes in, because they say, look, it just stays in titration longer. It's really a cost-effective method. Like, we don't want to hear all your rhetoric. What we need things that work that we can afford. And so I said, man, if we could just find things that had these qualities that lingered, and then a high that lasted for hours, we'd be able to start really doing a refinement on breeding selection for these specific plants, that when you put them into dispensaries, say, listen, for people that have pain issues, this is the one you'd buy, because the government doesn't subsidize it through insurance. And if you have to pay $40 for a fucking eighth, it'd be nice if it lasted as long as 2/8 that you normally bought did. And so that was my argument to this company, and they agreed. And then I started collecting plants that I thought had that longevity of high, known for penetrating high, and also known for these deeply aromatic aromas.
So what were the plants you started with?
And these are all traits consistent with what you guys
diesel.
are puffing.
I went into the original diesel, and I went into the LAPK. And I said the LAPK and the original diesel, and they're not really closely related, but the LAPK is really out of the pre-98 bubble pool, and the original diesel that kind of spawned all the diesels, that's like foundation chem. Those two directions, without doubt, give you longevity of high, and they both have these penetrating aromas that, upon the once we consume it, from that minute forward, when you smell it, your body automatically starts to kick in quicker with the response in anticipation of the effect. And for people that are medical, it's all about how do you speed up the whole process so that when they want any kind of relief, that shit's quick, right? And so, like, Tony Boneyard is, like, to me, like the king of medical breeding, because I don't know anybody that really began his career to breed towards medical goals. Hey, he's on right now. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah, bro. Brother Bones a G.
That's hysterical.
So,
but he really inspired me with the stories of what inspired him to be a breeder. And because I had already had heavy dispensary experience when I get to meet him, it just resonated where the patients need things that work quickly, work effectively, and they do the job they're supposed to do. And so much of it is that combination between deep pungent aroma that when you pop the container, it instantly speaks to you and you anticipate what's about to take place. So you're already healing through like placebo almost before you actually consume the chemical.
There seems to be this connection. The longevity of aroma and flavor seem to coincide with the longevity of effects.
You know, I want to kind of say that but the truth is that, like, a lot of the moderns have some really kick-ass mouth and they have some really nice aroma. They just don't linger. They don't linger in the room.
You're not talking about like your house reeks like this for days after you open.
No, they're different. They're very different. And you don't see that where, like, right now this room fucking smells.
Right.
Like I feel like I'm in like a rubber paint factory. It's making my eyes kind of fucking like tighten up.
So I was going to ask,
so I got a
step
jar
outside.
open on my
What
desk,
does everybody look at you like?
This fucking stinks.
You just sesh the shit out of it, and you walk outside in public. How do people look at you?
Well, I don't know. I haven't walked out in public with it. I said we got here last night and didn't leave the house. As soon as we got here, we sat down and started smoking.
Don't go pick nobody up.
You need to go hit the local grocery store.
But I know that I was so fucking high. And it's like, you know, you'll smoke 20 joints hanging out with your crew. We smoked one of these. Charles rolled up another hash joint or something he brought that was choice. So we got to try something different, which was cool. And we went back to the skunk again. And that was the hash joint. And we took like 2 good puffs each on this bomber. And it was searing. And we put it down and just looked at it. And we all looked at each other like we're afraid of the fucking thing, man. It was funny. And we went and hung out, and we had this pizza debacle where we ordered pizza. The fucking pizza guy. Much respect to you too, brother, man. I got nothing but love for you. You're absolutely a fucking unique dude, Bone. And I respect the shit out of you. We go to get some fucking pizza, and we're so fucking high that we don't realize they're knocking on the fucking door. We're like, we just drown those sounds out. And so they fucking laughed and said, you guys fucking didn't answer the door. So Charles had to go get the pizza. They had to go recook them, do all this thing. And so we're just sitting in the house hammered. None of us want to smoke any more weed.
Did he give the pizza guys some weed?
And mind you, there's only 4 of us. I'd bring back 3 large pieces because they hooked it up.
Ate them all.
So bad.
Handed them a joint. Sorry about that.
But I didn't have the munchies when I smoked. So like when I smoked, It wasn't like instant munchie. It was just that you were so fucked up, and you were really happy with the fuck up. You were like, you didn't feel you didn't feel mentally lost. It wasn't like, you know, you're on spiky isolate type high, which to me is a lot of the modern cannabis is kind of like an isolate high, because we've steered towards such specific terpene metrics and such specific cannabinoid metrics that really you're not getting the broad base. And so you end up having like a skewed effect. And so the kids of today, it's there with their acclimation to cannabis is this explosion, then this fall, where we would get fucking lit and then stay lit for hours. And then when we came out of it, we got the munchies. But when I smoke like modern shit, it's almost like concentrate to me.
Yeah.
So as soon as I come off it, I'm like, whoa, I'm fucking hungry. Mm-hmm. Hours later, I was hungry. And then we just ate every pizza on the table. And we were just laughing. And I went to go to bed and I was like too high to go to sleep. Like where I was.
See, this is what I'm really excited about is, and I was kind of talking to somebody about this yesterday, like, it seems like even if there's not this like rotten profile, there is a potential that this variety could turn things up on everything. So if you like that, cookies and you match
and it does have that animal urine aroma, but it's in the curing process, right? Like now that we all understand herb way better than we did back in the day, right? Now, because we've had plenty of time to have all the science understand what happens through the drying process. And we all learn this empirically, like just doing it ourselves. But there's nothing like having, you know, side-by-side tests to figure it out. And we realize, whoa, it's in that 14-day dry. You have to preserve those volatile sulfurs, and then once you preserve them, they don't fucking leave.
No, and for me, this stuff just got better the last round. After 2 months of keeping it in the jar and letting it cure and cure and cure, it just kept getting better and better and better, more pungent, more stable, and all those oils and sulfur compounds were still there.
Mm-hmm. I moistened up the stuff that was sitting to kind of let it replenish. It's kind of like my theory at why Humboldt grows good dope is that because we have such an interesting night-day change in temperature that we have the humidity spikes. And what happens is that iodized air coming over from the ocean pours through and it kind of lets the plant replenish, and it allows it to create a wax and it kind of captures some of those.
A little rainfall of micronutrients.
Yeah, and it preserves it a little different, right? And it doesn't mean that I think Humboldt pot's best in the world. It just means we have a unique impact on our weed.
It's almost like an antifreeze to help it control its modulation from.
Yeah, it preserves the oil. So 6 months after you have an outdoor bud from that you did right, and you hold it, you snap it open, the whole fucking room barks out. And when you smoke it, it's all greasy in your mouth still. But if you dry it too quick, you flare that off and you lose it. And we're talking subtleties. So the true roadkill aroma came in the box. And what we have now is we've lost that molecule in this particular dry. But what I have is all the other components to put it together. So now I know that we have the right rollability. We got the right dry hit. We got the right mouth feel. We got the right flavor in the mouth. We got the right expansion. And we got the fucking high that rivets you to the ground.
And we got the right one eye closed from Kevin as he smoked.
Yeah.
Pirated him at right.
So now it's the analytical phase. What makes this plant?
And it's to play with the process to say, okay, now that we understand it, let's create the SOP for that post-harvest handling so that we can lock in that component. It's nice, man. If anybody was around, I got a bunch of cats coming in and shit. Everybody's like, you know, it's going to be some official thing. And online, the fucking drama went off. And I hit people up and say, dude, someone's like, you need to send me a sample so I can fucking verify it. And I laughed. I said, I ain't sending you shit. I don't give a fuck you like it or not. What I'm saying is if you were nearby, I would invite you to the house to come smoke with us. I'm not trying to fucking do a sales pitch, right? That's the difference, is that I'm clear about what I want to do here, and pushing some clones in to get some hype money and sell some fucking seeds is not part of the fucking plan. So you will not see a fucking release of this shit coming that direction from us anytime soon. Nope. When we do what we do, you'll see what we do. But right now, it's understanding what we're holding so that we can improve it. And then from there, what we have is an ability now to be able to get all varieties hopefully understood a little better, because that's the big picture of weed. I love all weed, not one weed, but I needed, it's kind of like if we had Uncle Doobie's sour. Like, I would love to get Uncle Doobie's sour cut and this plant in the room at the same time with a science team.
Get them.
So they could, and both of them in premium form. So we know, take this plant, get your SOP on the dry so you have no deviation. So you locked in the aroma that fucking stayed in that box. I want them to do an essay of that because, like I said, man, we can get essays done at over 500 molecules, right? You
got this shit in TC, right?
It fucking gets.
So
you're holding this in TC, right?
This is just held in plant form, and we'll put it in TC, but it's just a matter of the issue in cannabis, and it's a real one, is things that are valuable always seem to find their way out of the system into the system, right? So when you hold it in your house, it stays pretty fucking safe. But when you let anybody fuck with it, it's not the person you let hold it, it's the person who works. So like I give an example, man. I had a friend, I get the Mac 1 from Cap, right? And I give it to a friend of mine. And like a while later, I see it, you know, in a nursery, and I was just wondering, I wonder how it got there. And I talked to my buddy, and he was like, "Yeah, I gave it to the nursery." And I said, "Homie," I said, it was supposed to be kind of like this buddy deal, right? Where like, I'm not selling the clone, I'm giving it to you. It's a game. Cap created a game. It was about people who were cool should get the plant, and if you passed it hand to hand without a sale, it creates a really different resonance in how we look at the plant. And he said to me, he goes, "Kev, I couldn't resist. I got offered 40 grand for it. So I sold it to this fucking big nursery for $40,000. And he goes, and I needed the money." And I said, "Look, I understand." I said, "But that's my fucking point. That it's not that employees are fucking so sneaky and dangerous. It's just that I know almost every single operation that exists, plants that go there under contract, leave that fucking operation and end up in the illicit clone sale market." And I'm not against it. I'm not against people making their money. I'm not against people doing their thing. I'm against you fucking stealing my shit and making money on it and telling me that that's how it's supposed to work. I love the idea of the plant should be released to the world. And I'm always like, finish the sentence so I can make money off your shit that I didn't have to work on. Right? Like that is the fucking industry we're in, right? Nobody wants to do the fucking work. They just want to pirate your shit and make money on it and then smash and grab. And the thing is that it's not about me in this case, because you know me, I'm a fucking open book with plants. I think I've shared more material than any fucking human I've ever met. Like, I really, really believe in sharing plants so that we spread it out in diversity. It's that I got brought into this project to help steer the success of the people who found it, which is Charles and Kirk.
It's not about me either. It's just about helping
and same
thing.
He's doing the same piece. And I said, listen, if we did this right, we'd be able to do some really fascinating things that would really help propel you forward. And if we fuck up, you're going to have to compete with your own plant, and you'll have no control of it. And you'll lose the valuation of it, and you'll lose the ability to do the work. And you'll feel like you were violated because you're the only one that holds it, and the people that are touching it are basically flaunting the fuck around saying, "I got your shit, I got your shit." And like, I've seen people do that. People I provided plants to, you give them a plant, hang out with them for a while, you give them a plant, and then you realize the only reason why they fucking even were around you was to get the plant. And you talk to them and you're like, "Listen, now that I know you're a sneaky prick, you can fuck off." But the truth is, if you had just fucking asked me for the goddamn thing from the onset, I would have given it to you. Instead, you play this game so that you can get my shit, as if I'm not going to get more shit, and as if I can't tell everybody I know you're a cocksucker and never give this motherfucker shit. And it ruins our trust base.
And that's why I called Kevin in, because that happened to me with Blueberry Express in Denver, like 2009, 2011.
Yeah,
like
bro. No,
blew me up the first time, and then it got stolen, and I lost it.
Yeah, I want to make sure it gets rid. It's just like the Becky, right? So the Becky becomes the Toad. The cats that had the Becky ain't making the money, but the cats that are moving the Toad are making the money. And then there's all the controversy with the fucking Detroit runts and the fake shit and the fucking seeds and the thing. It's fucking.
We were talking about that
hysterical.
before.
And the
No, I'm
conversation
fucking
comes full
dying, right? I'm watching
circle.
this.
I was like, yeah, I was like, I see like all the Instagram shit on Toad Venom, and I'm like, I don't really understand what's going on, but
I hit up a
like,
couple of the dudes because I know everybody, right? So like, I don't engage in drama online because I don't want to live that life, right? Like that's not. If you got a problem with me, man, I'll give you my fucking address. You can come over the house and talk shit. It'd be better,
Right?
Like I'm not tripping on talking
just so
shit.
everybody, even watching, is clear. Like this isn't about hoarding the plant.
No, it's not.
Charles
at all.
and
It's
his should
the
get
plant.
theirs.
Because what we want to do
At
is
the
we
end of
want
the
to
day,
see the
Charles and
products move
his
into the
buddy should get
system.
theirs. There
We
is a
want to
point
see.
where
We want to see hybridization
what
move
we
into the
have.
system. I've already reached out to multiple people.
Yeah.
What
So
makes
it's not
this
about
different, Jeff? What makes this fucking different is that we already got offered. The first offer we got for the cut was $100K. So I got a cash offer
that's
for
bonkers.
$100,000, right? The second fucking offer was $250K.
So I got that offered on YouTube the first time I did that.
So the bottom line is when you got people willing to give you $250,000 for a fucking plant, it's pretty fucking clear there's value. So I don't got to hype shit. If I wanted to right now, I could move the cut for fucking $250,000, right? One fucking cut. And so I don't have to create a valuation when I'm already being valued by people who want to buy the plant. So what we know is the value is there. It's what we want to do is we want to be able to roll it out and do some interesting stuff. So I reached out to Jay, Skunk VA, and I said, Jay, let's do a chem project. And he laughs and he says, you already got all the chems. I said, I know, but I'd like to do it with you because you're holding all the chems. And your Chem Fuego is what fucking Doobie used on his shit. So it's like, what we can do is we can do something together on a specific release, and it lets us work together collaboratively, which shows that it's possible to work with other people and both benefit.
We got to build each other up.
And then I reached out to Dwight Dio, and I said the same Dwight.
You're not getting this overnight. And this is what it's hard to explain because it's not that
I'm going anywhere. We're clear about what we're holding.
Yeah.
And we want to do it correctly. And I reached out to Dwight Dio, and I said the same thing. I said, Dwight, I would love to work with you on a hybridization project with it. And Dwight's in the same situation because what he realizes is that I don't need to fuck with him to get the genes either because I got the fucking genes. It's not the genes I want. I want to work with people. I want to work with people who I want to work with people. So I'm picking people who I can do hybridization work with so that what we can do is start releasing some really fucking fascinating hybrids to come out with it as we're going through this process to understand it so that what we can do is start to really create better hybrids downstream.
Reinvigorate everything.
So this gets back to the question I've been straining to remember for the past like 30 minutes, which is, with the duration of high as kind of an attribute and the old diesel and the what was the other one you said that
LAPK.
had the LAPK, you have the science guys looking at it. Have they figured out what the commonality is between those two different cuts? That
no, they haven't. They haven't because.
But that's one of the goals, right?
But what we had to do is like this is where this shit gets interesting, is you can't use cannabis as your fucking data set. You got to go into perfume. You got to go into perfume because they're the masters of aroma.
And their data set is huge.
It's fucking massive, right? And so what I'm able to do right now is I'm able to touch all these different industries because I spent the time building relationships with the people in the different industries, always under the same premise of, at some point, would I be able to utilize and work with you guys to understand the complexities of things that I work on? Because we don't have the ability to understand it. And I'm just admitting that I'm not as fucking smart as you are about this. Like, can we just admit that we're only as smart as we are and that we can ask for fucking help and work collaboratively to understand things better? And now we start to have the resources. And so it's just me been assembling these teams of fucking people around me for years where I get brought in to answer questions because they want to understand herb. And when I come in, I say, hey, I'd love to help you. But what I have an agenda. My agenda is to better understand these phenomenon. Can you help me understand how to do that so that when it comes time, we can do it? So what it does, it lets me get these fucking phenomenal spot on educations from people who are fucking brilliant in their fields. And because I'm offering fucking support to them and I'm not playing fuck around, they give me that support back. So it's just been this process of waiting and waiting and waiting till we get the data sets that we need to look at. And we needed the fucking AI. People don't catch it, but you can't look at this much data. It's too much. It's too big a set. It's too complicated. And so when you're using the AI, what it does, it lets you fuck around with calculations, and it lets you look at a billion possible combinations. And the AI says, whoa, these are the ones that stand out. And these are the ones that have statistical probability of fucking being interesting. And so we had to wait until, and that's every single group I've talked to said the exact same thing. It took us 40 years to get the set together. It's taken 40 years to get to this point with AI. We finally have a data set that we can look at with an AI model that can actually look at that much data and not take fucking 22 years to get an answer.
And it's still only the beginning with this stuff.
Yeah, we're just knocking on the door, all this shit. But for me, it's this understanding of I want to understand what molecules are creating it, and I want to find out what markers are measured in that creation, so that we can now do marker-assisted breeding to steer towards these very rare aromas.
How long till we all get to experience this beautiful thing you found?
Well, we're figuring out what we want to do in production right now. What I know is that we already have it set up in Canada, so we already have the ability to go into Canada, so that it lets us go into international markets, right? Because the U.S. is fucked, right? You're in states and it's silos. So it doesn't allow you any kind of like latitude that makes sense. You got to create too many different contracts. So I said, let's just focus on Canada first. We can then move it into Canada. We already found production partners we think are fucking competent. And it lets us go into that. Then it lets us go into international, because playing international is what I've been playing. And so I'm like, oh, this would fucking rock in all these different markets. And then I'm trying to find U.S. partners that I can work with. And it just really comes down to who do we work with. So I was talking to Drew Greco online the other day, right? And Drew runs an operation, I want to say in Arizona, but Drew is a fucking A+ large scale canopy operator. Like, that boy's got fucking skills. And he hit me up and he's like, Kev, there's a greenhouse that plant would really look good in. And I started laughing and I said, send me your number and I'll zoom you in. We'll chat with the crew and stuff. But guys like Drew are solid. And we had a bunch of guys hit us up and say, is there a possibility for us to operate in some capacity and do so? And I said, well, we're just trying to figure it out. So like, it's just really trying to understand how do we operate in the United States. And the U.S. is the market that's actually the toughest to work with in terms of keeping the fucking plant from leaving the goddamn building. I'm telling you, man, the United States is, and I understand I was in the fucking hustle too, but I wasn't stealing clones from jobs I was working on, right? That's the difference. I didn't steal your shit and then fucking sell it. If I wanted your plan, I'd ask you, and you would either give it to me, you'd say, I can't share it. And I'd say, okay, it's not mine to have. Like, I like your wife, but that doesn't mean I got to fuck her. You know what I mean? Like, it's all good. So the reality here is trying to understand who do we want to work with and how do we want to work with that level. But I think the best thing that we can start to do is like what we did here is we created like a consumption event where we let people come in. I got cats coming in that are farmers. I mean, people that are random that I was talking to on LinkedIn. I said, hey, you're in Vermont. Why don't you just drive over and fucking get high? They're like, what's the agenda? I said, there's none.
Travis, are you going over today or tomorrow, or?
Bam. Yep. We got him. You coming over tomorrow, right?
How's it going, gentlemen? Yeah, I'm jamming up tomorrow. I got some goodies.
That's what I'm saying. So like, it's the same deal. It's purely a celebration of discovery. And it's a fucking unbelievable story about how he found it and what he went through to do it.
That's the thing that intrigues me most is how the seed seemingly
we're not trying to market the fucking thing. I'm not worrying about it. I just know that if you had a bag of this in front of you, you'd fucking buy it. And I already know the valuation on the clone because we already had multiple offers. So once you start to have offers and you start to have people do assessment and they say, holy fuck, that shit's phenomenal weed, then what we know now is that we're going the right route. And that's how we want to approach it, because otherwise it just becomes like this let's go make money right now thing. And the problem is every time you go make money right now, you don't do it right. you don't do the process correctly, and the process is about really allowing people to work with you to make development and create a situation where everybody you touched it did pretty well. It doesn't have to be customers get fucked. It doesn't have to be partners get fucked. And most of cannabis right now to me is basically that. It's the industry's kind of fucked, right? Like the trap is cooler, and it's always was because people kind of have to work off their reputation. But legal herb and the idea of like working with branded individuals and fucking celebrities and shit, everybody who works with them gets pooned in the ass, and you get a little bit of fame and you get a few bucks, but you don't really get the long-term benefit that you should, because you weren't able to make the decisions correctly. And that's what my role here is in this project, is just to try to slow down the pace while making better decisions, so that when we go forward quickly, but in a way that makes sense, where we're really doing some fascinating shit, and it'll be a good time. So we got, what's up, V? Oh yeah, man. You want to hang on? Let me introduce you to Kirk. Kirk, slide over here, Kirk. This is the Future Cannabis Project. This is Trav. Trav's going to be here tomorrow.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
He's going to come visit us. Hey, sit down.
Okay.
Sit down for a second.
Let me grab my drink.
Yeah.
Congratulations and respect, Kirk.
Bam. There you go. Dunkin' Donuts and all that shit. Now you know you're fucking New England. And so this is Kirk. And Kirk's the one that it's Kirk's the one that located the variety. Kirk's the one that figured out how to really bring out the profiles and play with good organic cultivation and soil technology. And we're just on the Future Cannabis with Peter and Trav and Jeff Mages from Colorado talking shit about the variety. So
Awesome. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. Kirk
How
from
you doing?
Medicals.
You as well, Kirk.
So this is just stuff you've been growing for a while.
Yeah.
And
you
working.
can hear it? Hang on. Let me turn this fucking fan down because it's loud in here. How do we turn that thing off?
No clue.
All right. Turn the hot tub off.
Is that the hot tub?
Yeah.
I hope you guys didn't have too much pizza. I was going to bring some up.
No.
Did you bring a speaker?
We gorted our
yeah.
on pizza last night. I'm here to tell you.
But you guys could do it again, right?
Oh, for sure. It was pizza.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There you go. All right, now just yeah. You go.
You guys should do this from the hot tub. The three of you.
Yeah.
So my
So you
buddy
can
is
hear
ready.
us?
My buddy is ready to camp on the street tonight, like a Capitol Records release, to get some skunk from the store tomorrow. He's all hyped. He's acting like it's like a record release, or it's just something special. It's cool, He's ready to go camp out in the cold, so he could be first in line.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I hope you guys really enjoy it.
Well, Travis will be with you guys tomorrow.
Awesome.
Right? So what's tomorrow? Saturday?
Which one's Travis?
Travis is in where's
Travis
He's
is
in the
wearing
bottom.
the Spelunkian
Yep. And there's
flashlight.
Jeff up in Colorado. There's Trav in New
Hi,
England.
Jeff.
There's Pete in fucking Southern California, and
Nice
Oh,
to
you know,
meet
we
you,
can
Pete.
do.
and
You
there's us
too.
old looking motherfuckers there.
You know.
Shit, we got a fucking bomb we're gonna smoke right now. But yeah, you got him on. You got him on the piece, man. Fucking you can ask. He has a far more intimate knowledge of it than I am, and we're gonna blaze right here. But
I got some questions for sure.
yeah, please.
Do you prefer the indoor or the outdoor batches that you've had? I don't know how many seasons you've run it out in the sun, but what smokes better for you?
Oh, definitely indoor for me, but
Okay.
she really performs well outdoors.
But the smoke is better from the inside runs?
Yes.
Okay,
For-
that's cool.
For me, at least, that's the way I like it. She
That's
really
cool.
starts to finish up around day 55 to 60.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
What sort of lights is she under?
I'm running so I'm still stuck with the SE. So like
Love it.
I
I love that. I still run single-endeds myself. Not exclusively, but I still run them.
right. Yeah, I prefer single-ended, and I'm having a hard time like switching with the new ways.
Yeah.
So I collect single-ended bulbs and stuff,
Do
used
you
ones, and like
do you have enough? I have absolute piles of them. I'm not sure what wattage you run, but I have piles. I could bless you with some for sure.
yeah, I like the Hortilux Pro I.
Okay, yeah, that one specific's harder to get for sure.
That's my so like I source those ones out specifically.
Yeah.
I've had really good performance with Hortilux, and then also on the LEDs, I've ran the Gavita and the Ions.
Do you run any 400 watt for the Horties or no?
I do. I use
Okay,
400s in veg.
awesome. I think I have a bunch of the 400 blues.
Yeah, as far as HPS, I run thousands, 1,000 watt.
Yeah.
So like
That's such a cool piece of the puzzle to hear that it's the best lighting pretty much like from the old days. It's the Horty single. Like that's a really cool piece of the puzzle to hear.
yeah, I just feel like the older varietals that we're running at the facility prefer the single-ended bulb. That's why I collect the old bulbs, because I imagine we're going to run out of the source at some point.
Yeah.
They're going to force us into other ways of lighting.
You know what I want to see though is I want to see this under the new red sandwich from Fluence, right? Have you checked out that release yet, Jeff?
Nuh-uh.
So I fly to Austin to be part of their like I'm trying to think of the name of the conference they had, but it was fucking high end, man. Like I was honored to be asked to be part of it because it was all super geniuses and the my criminal ass. And Dr. Dave fucking releases his under canopy and a top light technology, and he's a brilliant as a company they're about as science minded as possible because they ended up tying in with Philips. So the largest lighting company on earth is their parent company, and then they're the cannabis division. And what it did is it really allowed them to go super heavy into the science. And so instead of releasing the under canopy lights quickly, what Dave was trying to understand is where do you bring the far red from the top of the bottom and at what ratio? And he was able to understand that by using the bottom lights and bringing certain fucking frequency up and then certain frequency down, what he got was this exponential impact. So instead of like 2 + 2 became 2 + 2 is not 4, 2 + 2 is fucking 5.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant and super efficient, and the resulting products were unbelievable. And so we got to go and tour some operations using the technology, and I got to spend time with Dave. And really, like he said, Kev, he goes, I spent a couple of years. He goes, we wanted to release the under canopies. He goes, because it was so hot. He said, but the thing was, he goes, as a scientist, which is almost limiting in business, I wanted to really understand what it was that we were trying to do. And he said, right. So I delayed the release, which we had to like mentally kind of work with because we weren't capitalizing on the market demand for under canopy. He said, but I wanted to understand how do we really utilize upper and lower lighting with our knowledge of spectrum. When we use certain spectrums in certain situations, this is the impact. And he says, so we had the ability to understand, we just need to do the trials. And I know a couple companies now that are doing R&D with them on their genetics using that system specifically. So I fucking like connected them so that what you're able to do is take a look at what 2026 lighting technology really is.
Right.
And how it impacts plants. So when we went into LED, it was just LED. These are the diodes. This is the thing. Yeah. And the problem with us in terms of like what I do, which is plant selection, it's not so much that older plants did better under those lights. It's that they were fucking selected under those lights, which is why they do better under those lights. So if I put another 1,000 plant population and I select under an LED, I guarantee I'm going to find something under that lighting system that really fucking shines. Yep. It's just about selection on impact, right? It's almost like indoor terroir.
Yep.
And people can't catch that concept that indoor does have terroir. the environment, the applicator, and the plant used in conjunction is the same situation.
I love the Rhode
environment-
Island accent doing the French accent.
Yeah, that's great. No, man, I just butcher the language, right? The poor French, man, they fucking hate to talk to me.
It's something I've presented on passing around clones a lot lately. Like, we've reached a point in lighting and our own methodology to where if I buy a cut from you and run it out here, my passive air system and my LEDs and the frequency and method that I water doesn't get me the same results as it does for you where you're at indoors.
No, at Cookie's R&D, right? What people don't catch about a professional R&D spot is that you're not figuring out what makes the plant best. You're figuring out what makes the plant best under the constraints of your production partners, which means if they're using Rio Coco, you're using Rio Coco. If they're using fucking stone wool, you're using stone wool. If they're using Athena, you're using Athena. If they're running fucking Fluence, you're running Fluence. If they're running Foch, you're running Foch. And so we have all the different systems set up so that we can really figure out what works what for whom that we're providing the plants to, right? And then you can give them an SOP because we can do the whole data board of all the drybacks, right? Because all that's computer tracked. So we can give them the full environmental report, the full irrigation report for the whole cycle, and then give them the COAs and give them all the data they need. And then all they got to do is just plug it into their system because they're fundamentally running the same shit, right? So if most people are using these systems, and the only variation we really have is the sun-grown test, because the sun-grown test is biologically driven. That's like Organics Alive type shit. And that lets us run a biologically driven bottom end and sun-grown, which is really where you see that production methodology occur predominantly. And you see some living soil stuff, but you don't see a shitload of living soil that's really punching out huge amounts of weight. So, and it's not to diminish it. It's just purely when we're talking about you want a piece of weed to be put out in fucking quantity. The companies that put out weed in quantity use very specific methodologies, and they use some very specific companies. And what we do is we just accept that that's what the people who are going to get the plants from us use. So it makes it easy so that when my guys, and remember, I'm not even part of it. Like, I've launched the fucking company. We help put it together. I assist in little tiny ways. That's all fundamentally, fucking Jonah Carrington. He's our head of R&D at that facility. And Jonah does a really good fucking job at putting together R&D and going through and pulling out really, really, really epic selections that he can then present to Burner for Burner's saying, hey, I like that one most, and let me name it. So, Jonah does the fucking, he's got a good team around him. Is the crew that's around him is
right.
Also
they do all the legwork.
Yeah, that's D and the boys. Like they're solid, smart guys. But Jonah does a really good job with R&D because he understands exactly what the fuck it is he's supposed to do. And for me, like, I used to use my farm for R&D, and I found that my farm was the worst place I could do R&D because the stress level was so high at the farm that it gave me skewed COAs. And that when I gave that same plant to someone else and said that it produces like 2.1% THCV, and they didn't get it, they said, you lied to me. And I said, no, I learned a lesson. My farm is too unique to do R&D for anybody but me at that farm. So my farm lets me do R&D at my farm for my farm, but it doesn't let me do R&D for anyone else because the impact is so great. If I want to do R&D for someone else, I have to do it at 300 feet, down at my location. And what that means is that you just got to accept that the reality is that the home grower can figure out what is the absolute best way to make the plant produce a profile, an impact. But when you talk commercial, there's other quantifications that have to occur or it can't take place. And one of those is it's going to produce. And so you have to be able to make all these things work in a criteria. So R&D isn't so random when you're doing it professionally, and it takes out some of the fun. And I think R&D is most fun if you're doing it with what makes it produce the best, period. But what I know is that when we take the plant and we put it under some modern systems and we see what happens when we crop steer it and fuck around, we'll get to be able to have that as a comparison base.
Absolutely.
What's it doing to live in soil under a fucking LED? What's it do under a fucking DE? What's it do under a fucking, old mogul bulb socket? And what's it do in the sun? And when we compare them all, as long as we do each one correctly, right? So we're comparing best outcome of each one of those methodologies, we'll be able to, without question, get a far better perspective of how do you optimize this plant's production? Where does it really shine? And so he had never washed it, right? And so he sent me pictures of the micro heads, and they look like globes. And I was like, have you ever washed this thing? And he said, no. So he did a jar test, and that shit looked like straight fucking beach sand in the bottom.
For sure.
And then he sent it to the extractor, and the extractor will bring us back the product today from the fresh frozen, so we can look at the hash and the rosin. And we smoked the finger hash last night, so that we're able to start to understand better, like,
so what's
the applicability of the plant?
like?
Is it, because some plants really are just, I mean, all things considered, Skittles, like, it's a nice pot, but Skittle as a rosin's really where that motherfucker stands out, right? You want to experience Skittle, take it as a concentrate, because the flower is variable. But if you take Skittle and concentrate it, it goes from awesome to unbelievable. Right. Not from pretty good to awesome, right? But in Skittle flower, it's pretty good to awesome.
What's
because
the
flower's
resin
tricky.
like on
You got to
that
get
stuff?
the right, you know what I mean? The little details.
Yeah.
Skittle's tricky to play with.
Yeah.
And so once you understand, like, how do you play with it, you know that if you want to produce Skittle outdoor, what you want to do is produce it outdoor for fucking hash production, and then you'll get a product that'll absolutely shine. And so that's kind of what we're at right now, is trying to understand better a plant that's only been grown biologically under old socket bulbs is killing it. What happens when we change it, and do we lose the quality? What happens when we go outdoor in other environments than Maine? What happens when we put it in, like, say, fucking Humboldt County, or even, like, say, the Sierras, right? Like Grass Valley, where you got these longer cycles, longer season. The plant will respond to it. It won't trigger as fast. What's the metabolite profile then? So I'm trying to understand this in all these ways, so we really know, how do you really take something that's awesome and make sure that you're clear about, when you give it to someone to grow for production, you give it to the right person, because you're going to say, listen, it just doesn't seem to like fucking rock wool the same way. It just doesn't come out with the same profile. It needs to be in living soil to reveal, or it needs to be in natural sun, or it must be in HBS driven. And that no matter how we play with the spectrum, tune spectrum LEDs, we just don't get it to pop. We just need to know this, right? Because right now
that's such an
projection.
interesting nuance to
a
me.
lot of us do that. Like, I've done it on cuts that I've held, where I'm like, if you grow this under HPS, you'll lose this or gain this. If you grow
I
this
did it
in
for
a
career,
hydroponic
Jeff.
system,
Everything I sold as a fucking plant from the nursery, all those decades of being, the reason why I could sell the plants was that I had done the R&D, and I would just say, listen, I only know at least one methodology. I can tell you what it did on an indoor, I can tell you what it did in a mixed, or I can tell you what it did on an out. And if you give me a year, I'll know the data on all three, because I'll be able to put it in. But I would always be able to say, this plant shined in this method, and that's why I chose it. And what it does, it just makes it easy for the customer to be able to understand, like, where did you find the quality? And if they run a different system, then they have to expect the risk. But if we can take a look at it from a couple different perspectives, we'll be able to find out, like, where do we get the best outcome? And then we'll be able to, and what I'm fascinated with too is, like, I was talking to the husband and wife that have, like, Canatrol, controlled drying systems and shit. And it's the beauty of those is that you're able to track the data completely, so that when you make your smoke evaluation, you can look back at the data and then say, let's adjust. And then once you find the real sweet spot of what that sweet spot is, now you're able to repeat it. And I think that that's the whole point, is that when plants get released into the system, some plants just do well everywhere. And like, we'll use cookies as an example. Like, cookies is pretty fucking easy to grow, right? And it produces a pretty similar product in most circumstances, indoor and outdoor. And when you reverse cookies, it's a fucking dumper, which makes it so easy to use in hybridization, right? So that's why you see so many things with cookie lineage, is because when you reverse that motherfucker, it throws shitloads of pollen. Go reverse Mac and tell me what the fuck you're getting. Try to pollinate Mac. You're getting 3 seeds a fucking table. With cookies, you reverse a female and it'll accept that pollen, and the pollen coming off of it is coming out in fucking quart jars. So some plants just naturally lend themselves to development and hybridization by virtue of their ease of use, right? There's the trend of why we all use it. We all use it because it's fucking easy. It gives you a bud that looks like a golf ball. It has color. And to me, it has a really good base note of pastry dough, which allows you to put other flavor on it and kind of steer the direction, right? So the hype, it was hypey as fuck, 15 years ago. And now it's just so mainstream. But why is it so used today in every goddamn thing? It's some fucking form of cookie in like 80% of all shit in the market. And I tell people, I said, it's because it's got a variety of factors that make it really well for hybridization, commercialization, and a base note for really high quality mouth cultivars, because it puts a creamy dough base underneath whatever frosting you want to put on top. You can't deny that base is solid. And it reverses well. So that's the problem that you got with the new plant you're playing with, where even though this plant was in a fucking jar that said 1987, it had sat for a long time until Kirk finds it. He's the only one that grows it. He grows it in his system, and he grows it outdoors so he can say, hey, this is what it did outside. This is what it does in my system. And we're like, holy fuck, it's incredible. And now we just need to find out, what does it do in other systems, so we know how to really put it into production. Because otherwise what you do is you put something in that's awesome and you say, look, I selected, it's awesome, and it comes out of someone's op and it's pretty good. Is it because you fucked them or you gave them a bad plan? It's just that it doesn't respond to that specific steering. And crop steering, we use the word crop steering, mostly it implies fucking root zone management, but crop steering is the totality of input you're putting on the plant to get a fucking result, right? So crop steering is the total of all inputs. And when you put them all together, you have to see that they're really an equation and they're variables, and you can juggle them and move them as long as you get the number at the end of the equation you want. But it's a process, and you have to be patient with the process so you can really get the right answer. And so for me, I want to see it in some different methodologies, and I want to see it in some different locations so I can see, if it's this good as an outdoor in Maine. And Maine's really not far latitude-wise from Humboldt. So what do you hear? What's your latitude here? I can't. Probably like 41, maybe, right? Like, can't be any more. Maybe it's up a little higher, but probably in the latitude. We're 39 in Humboldt. New England is around that 40 zone, right? So latitude-wise, similar, but because our longitude is different, we get a different impact. But same distance, close to the coast, and the season here is shorter, but it's same thing. Super clean air, 44. Yeah. So we're 39, it's a 44, right? So you got a shorter window, but you got the same conditions. Really good fucking water quality, excellent air quality. You're getting iodine-rich water blowing off the ocean, flying across the fucking land. Maine's got better soil, but it's rocky too, but similar. But we have too much clay, right? So Humboldt soil, you have to build it more. But New England has actually better soil than fucking California because you got deciduous trees dropping leaves, so you got humus. Our humus is kind of fucked, right? It's acidic. So you got some natural advantages here that we don't have, but we have the beauty of that longitude, and Humboldt's location provides us with all these perfect conditions for fucking phenomenal outdoor. So I want to see the plant sitting in my farm, and I want to see that product in a biologically driven system on a farm that is fucking notorious for producing really high level resin producing plants, so that we can then use that as the baseline and start to say, okay, where does this product come out best? And if you do things correctly, you're able to put the plant in the hands of people who can do the best job. And what it does is it lets them have exclusivity of the production, and it allows them to be able to produce it at a level that's optimal. And you don't lose the marketability of the product. So you take your time and you don't let the hype make you run wild in the street so you can go dance around and be an internet superstar too, you're able to actually understand what's taking place. And I use this example. If we look at, like, we can use Cookie again, right? Because Cookie's the first one that really catches the fucking internet hype, and Cookie creates a culture in the Bay Area, which was popping, opposite of LA, which was OG Kush. So like Josh D, you know, is like, to me, symbolic of OG Kush of LA. And he releases this great product into the system. He figures out how to grow it correctly. It creates this fucking demand for these type of batches. Everybody follows suit. You got Swerve releasing all the fucking the seed variations, which he never gets credit for that shit, but he absolutely flooded the market with fucking fuels before anybody else flooded them with fuels. And what takes place is LA is popping and powerful and doing its trendy thing. The Bay Area pops up. And when the Bay Area pops up and that plant pops up, it pops up in the new world of a lot more stores, a lot more stuff, a lot more normality, and the internet is normal to use and popular. And so all of a sudden that plant takes a life and it moves through the system, and you see it here 15 years later. But if you understood what the plant's potential was when you held it and you played around with it a little bit, you would have been able to make better decisions on how you did releases and how you steered development and who you work with in partners. So that what you were able to do was maintain the tension, the desire for something that was exquisite.
Hillary, thank you.
So at that time, right, like people can say, like, you know, Cookies ain't exquisite. Well, it sure as fuck sold a lot when it came out. Without a question, that fucking shit was red hot like you wouldn't believe. Just like OG right now, we'd say is esoteric, right? It's fucking, it's everybody got OG. When it came out, it was $8,000 a fucking pound because there was nothing like it. And it's the same with like Skittle. Skittle fucking commands high prices. This run here fucking commands high prices in the storefront. And its unit price is high, and the clonal price that we got offered was insane. So we understand already that's an evaluation position, but it's about, do you whore out the plant for quick money, or do you fucking step back for a minute and really try to figure out how do you get the most value out of it for both the business and also for the development of like breeding, plant science. And I don't consider myself a breeder. And I'm involved in a million projects, but I'm not what I call a breeder. I'm someone who does plant breeding, but I'm not a breeder. And I have some really clear distinctions as to why. But the point is, why can't we impact the osmocosm, the world of aroma, by starting to understand resonance and duration, and how do we find it as a marker, and how do we look for those markers in other plant lines so that we can work and develop? How do we use new tools to help us look at complex code to get the answers we want? And then we have to make the decision in terms of the smokability and like human element, but we can utilize all this fucking information so I can start to look at 10,000 plant populations and pull two, just like Luther Burbank did, right? Where he was doing 100,000 plant selections to pull one. In corn, you're at a fucking million. You're at a million plant selection, right? So like when we start getting into commoditized crops and you understand that, and their criteria is yield per fucking acre, but the bottom line is the number of plants they have to look through to find the improvements is insane. Why can't we use all these scientific tools to help us understand how to take this and do something correctly? And in the process of it, create the releases that should come out sequentially so that it's not a fucking free for all. And the point is that it's not like, because I saw someone said, you're going to be selling seeds and shit. I said, we're not. That shit, when we sell seeds, those seeds will be fucking stable. And that'll be a process. And it might not even be the conventional seed. I might even go into a triploid route with it just so that we can really see if we can drive another 30% of the aroma molecule up out of that fucking plant. And why can't we work with other groups? Why can't we work with tiny breeders who have incredible varieties that we think would mesh? Why do we have to have any route to follow other than the one that we think would make the most sense from a fucking dope smoker's point of view, right? So if I look at it from a smoker point of view, all I want to see is awesome fucking collaborations and varieties that are popping out for a while, and get the knowledge from this one on how do we make others better. Oh, how do we make them better? We don't need to let him in.
Who's that?
That's Alex.
Oh,
Yeah. How do we make it better so that our long game is better, right? Like I've been in herb my fucking whole life. Like why can't I enjoy the process too, right? Why can't we like have our own desires about what do I want to see? I want to see a lot of really good herb that is really rich in flavor, and we're really able to turn up the fucking duration of high on a lot of it so that you have an ability to smoke a joint. You don't got to smoke fucking 3 of them. You can smoke 1 of them, and by the time 3 hours later comes up, you're ready to burn another. I don't like feeling like I'm on a crack pipe where you're fucking hitting that shit. You're hitting that shit. Not that I know what a crack pipe looked like, but if I did,
I like the steady
Hypothetically.
stream of hot air.
yeah, hypothetically, if we were fucking smoking rock, and you know, and you got your boy unscrewing the light bulb, what you have is and for some people that's ideal, but that should be measured and marked for them. So they say, okay, I have 45 minutes that I have time for a duration. But for me in my life, because I work and I'm busy, I would rather be able to burn a joint and then not smoke one for 3 fucking hours and be happy. Just kind of like, matter of fact, you know, we got to fuck around with. We got the fucking pearls from Buddalero. So Dave Perkins from Buddalero is releasing the Destroyer, that 22-week Destroyer. He released that shit into the California market like yesterday, and we bumped into him, and he gave us a sample of it so that we would be able to like do a review on it and then enjoy 22-week Destroyer from Ketabayagen that his partner, his father-in-law's held for fucking decades.
Too cool.
And we brought it with us, right? So here in the house, we got the pearls from Dave. We got the hash that won the Humboldt Showdown from Alex. We got the purple sands that came off my farm 2 years ago. And we got the skunk.
Unbelievable.
So, and we got a ton of shit from Charles too, but like the pearls coming from Dave is the same thing. It's a high that lasts for hours, but it's cerebral and I would say more creative, and you know, it's something you want to go dance to. You know, you want to hang out with your old lady and fucking do fun shit. The skunk is, man, you want to get fucking trapped in a mind lock where you're basically isolated from all humans on Earth. That's the one. And so they're very different. But once we understand the duration molecules of what makes this happen, what's this combination? What's the combination of cannabinoids and other metabolites that make it occur? We'll be able to breed better Destroyer. We'll be able to breed better skunk. Like that. That's like,
well, so it's also that people can start looking, like people can go back into the building blocks and be like, okay, this is where that was coming from, and they can recreate stuff too.
Yes,
so
because my
like what you guys have right now, theoretically, other people, they understood kind of what's driving everything that makes it what it is. They could start taking kind of the building blocks of those profiles and effects and things like that, and
yes,
pull them back together.
What we fuck up on in weed is we don't understand how commercial crops, all crops, are bred. There's fucking seed banks you go to get germplasm from that are proven that this is where the traits come from. So when any scientist comes into cannabis, that's how I get involved in it. They're like, where do we get the material to do the project? And I'm like, we gotta source it. We gotta find the right things, because there is no gene banks that have known progenitors with reproducible traits. My dream is that you'd have a bank of that. So if Travis wanted to fucking breed something, he'd be able to look at the gene bank and say, I want to license that plant for a breeding operation. And he would know that is where the gene is held that transfers those traits. It's kind of like looking at, if you're looking at like, I was just looking at Oregon CBD's catalog, and in their triploid work, they got this like autovarin they fucked with that throws this crazy like lime flavor, but it has unbelievable shortening of time, and it allows them to create their triploid version with a faster flowering time and a like increased aroma profile. But they use the male and everything, which means that they did an unbelievable amount of work to select that fucking male. And wouldn't it be nice that when they're done making the money with that male on their own shit, down the road, that mail was accessible in a licensing format. So when you wanted to create something for your farm to have a shorter finish in that profile, you'd be able to license the plant and use it in an operation, and you throw the fucking thing away. You could go get it again because you've already bought the license. And it doesn't even have to be high value, big money shit. It's purely you go to use other people's tools. So if I wanted something that was gas, I could say I bought this plant from the spot specifically to use at a breeding project to create fuel. And so my dream is that we create a whole wave of young people that come in that want to breed cannabis, and they have access to all these tools and all these abilities, so that their creativity is what shines, not their limitation on Mendelian ratios. They don't need to be fucking superstars of the dope game. They can say, what I want is these things, and if they can communicate to an AI agent and an AI model, it just helps them translate the words to the computer, so the computer can say, okay, you're looking to do this. Yes, I'm looking to do that. What plants would best work in that context? And then what you have now is you start having ease of development for new people, right? Like, I want to see young people come into the industry and replace our old tired asses, or we're going to be fucking 80 dragging around giving lectures on shit. And that's not applicable, because you have this resonance of time, but you don't have any fucking clue about current. You're not current. You're 80 fucking years old. That's why, like, our presidents and all these old politicians get these cocksuckers out of office. And it's not that I don't think 80-year-olds are valid. I know they're valid. They're not fucking current for people 30 and below. So I would say always have older people in your life for advisors, because they help you see patterns. But an 80-year-old person can't talk to a 20-year-old person about the problems they're facing today. When you were 80, you were fucking raised in the 50s, and you were able to have a very different life in America if you were a white male. If you're living today as a white male in the United States, you're not able to anywhere, way or shape, get that same level of home buying power. A single job fills the whole family for food. You can buy a truck. You can go on vacation. That shit ain't happening for these young motherfuckers. So what advice does an 80-year-old give a 20-year-old when they're living in two fucking radically different worlds, right? That's how I see weed. I know that I'm only relevant in my time period. And once I get a little bit past this, I'm just a fucking relic. And what I want to do is I want to grab from the past, from all my experiences, and try to understand what made them do what they do, now that we have all these people that are fucking scientists in cannabis that are able to, like, publicly work on it and talk about it, right? We're ghettos. They're gagging right now. We're ghetto scientists. And I'm cool with that. But I'm not, no thank you. But I'm not a fucking scientist, because once I start gagging on that, I won't be able to talk. Wow, that shit.
That's a very interesting concept about the current. That's a good one.
There you go. I'll smoke down in a minute with you guys. But that's the point. That's the whole fucking point of this. And I don't give a flying fuck what anyone says, because really, I could give it a fuck a long time ago. What I know is that if we could do what we do differently, and we could do a better job, because we weren't living in the paradigm of criminal cannabis, right? Because it limited us like a motherfucker. If we just said, listen, if we can normalize this in this way, and celebrate the complexity and the beauty of a plant that gives us such an ungodly fucking impact, how would we do it correctly if we had the tools in front of us? And how do we take things from the past and not tell people today, my shit's better than yours because your shit doesn't do this? And say, listen, if you want something to do this, you now have a choice, but I'm not telling you you're fucking wrong. If you love tutti frutti, sexy booty, then that's your shit. And that's not for me to tell you you're wrong, but like the issue is nothing in cannabis was held.
I'm actually
so nobody
growing
from
Rudy
generations
Tutti Fresh
ever
and
gets to go
Fruity
back
right
and
now.
see it. And the way it was held, it changed how it was producing its metabolites through epigenetics. And even TC doesn't take that fucking problem away. TC just takes the luggage off, takes the baggage off. It doesn't return it to fucking seed. So if we held it in a certain method for 30 years, it fucking definitely has changed compared to someone who held it differently for 30 years. So our issue is we have no standardized holding methods. We don't have banking systems. We don't have an ability to do any of this shit in any way that other crops do. So you're never able to get people to go back and forth in time comfortably without a pissing contest to who's fucking right. And it's the argument that's all the time. It's everybody always telling everybody they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm like, let me get this straight. Everyone's a fucking idiot but you, right? So you're the only motherfucker in the room that's got a brain. Hey, what's up, man? Bam. So the only person in the room with a fucking brain is you, right? And I'm like, no, you like what you like. You're valid. I'm not here to tell you you're fucking wrong. I'm just here to say, if we didn't operate the way we had to for the last 100 years because of the fucking illegalities, we would function far more like Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran, where the fucking genes were moving across the borders freely as fuck because every farmer wanted the other farmers to do well, because at the end of the day, you're all a giant fucking community and you all understand struggle. And not one person I talked to in any village I went to, anywhere we fucking went, did anyone talk about proprietary, we protect our shit. It was constant, never ending. We move genes that are good out. We take genes that are good in. And so they're all regional. But what it creates is it creates a better situation for all. And it creates exposure to all these facets and edges. And that's what I want to see. And that's what I really want to be able to do. I've been in herbs for so long. And when I got in, it was criminal. And then we were criminals. And then you're a fucking felon, right? So you're a fucking young felon and you're living the felon life, and it changes your whole life. And you get to this point now where there's normalcy, but we went through so much. But for me, I don't give a fuck about that struggle. I give a fuck that we didn't bank and hold plants correctly so that we have this track of time to show what people liked at certain times because it reflects the societal pressures. And it lets us use cannabis as a stamp of eras, that OG was this era, but why? Because it also fit in with what the people did. It lets people understand that the links of time, the herb reflects the people reflect the herb. And by being able to do so, you have this different relationship with nostalgia.
Like
it's cocaine
was a reflection of 1980s Miami and New York.
Exactly. You want to know, and if you say 80s in Miami and New York, you got to have your Coke spoon hanging off your gold chain, and it's your dad's buddy who hasn't fucking buttoned up his shirt in like 7 years, and the guy's got like fucking 8 foot. Like, I'm a fucking hairy dude, right? But as a kid, I was like, that's some hairy motherfuckers, and every one of them had these gold chains with the little spoon.
When dudes out hairy me,
the spoon was. I'm like, what do
like
you do? Because you're little. What do you do with the spoon? And you realize, oh, I got you. I know you do with the spoon. And so that lets people say that at that moment in time, cocaine was so fucking normal that people were going to church wearing Coke spoons. It was that mainstream at that time. And the acceptance of cocaine in 1980 was fucking unbelievably accepted. And then it gets turned into crack, and they demonize crack because they want to fucking.
And it gets mixed with fentanyl, and people die.
It just goes the route. We're right. Fuck right now. If you're in Seattle and you eat fish, you're eating fish with cocaine in them. And if you're eating shrimp in certain bays, every shrimp's got cocaine in it. So the amount of cocaine the America's fucking, and America, UK, and Australia fucking consumes as a group outweighs all the cocaine consumed on the earth by fucking tons. So for whatever reason, people that descended from the British Isles, which is Australia and America, and probably Canada, we absolutely seem to love the drug. But the same deal is the demonization of it took away the fact that in Colombia, cocaine is the alkaloid. Coca leaf is considered a superfood that if you chew it, you're getting the best amount of phytonutrients you could get.
I've wanted, and by the way, if anyone's watching, I want to get coca seeds to grow coca. You have them?
No, I want some too.
I have access to Pablo's cut though. I got to see Pablo's cut. Like I swear to God, I went to a botanical preserver in Bogota.
That's wild.
And we were talking about coca, and he said, "Do you want to see Pablo's cut?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Pablo had the local coca plant. He sent it over to like Venezuela, and he had botanists go and improve it by like 40% yield." He goes, "So the coca plant used today is botanically been enhanced through selective breeding so that we got a better one. And I went down to the garden and I was looking at Pablo's coca plant, and he wanted to give me a rooted cut of it. And I was cracking up, and I'm like, no, I can't go through U.S. Customs with the rooted coca plant. Like, this shit ain't gonna go well. But it's a different substance there because of how they use it and how they see it. We demonize it because we turn it into a drug form and make it highly profitable for sales and incarceration. Cannabis is the same thing. And so for me, these varieties from the past that have these unbelievably heavy, long-lasting impacts and these huge resonances, how do we understand them and move the qualities forward so that we're able to always have these tools present? So when people want to create new cannabis varieties to fit the social pressures, the social desires, they have the building blocks. Or otherwise, what we're going to have is 3 different directions. And if you see it, we're going into 3 different companies that will be the consolidation of all cannabis. So to me, it's the home growers, and it's being able to create like micro gene banks that have known plants with specific values that micro home growers can go into and play. Like, I don't see
like
the
dagga
development that we want coming out of the larger brands, because their focus is more for cheaper, not better. So it's trying to like really understand, how do you not fuck this up? And that's why I brought all the people in, because otherwise it's me trying to tell people I think this is real, and they're going to be like, he's saying it so he can sell it. And that's true. But at the same time, I'm not selling it right now. So it's not. And having all these other people in the
you're
room
just
create,
smoking it.
I'm smoking it and I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. And it's letting all of us kind of go back in this time zone of, this is things that were dominant in the era. When you wanted the most bougie ass herb of today, that was the most bougie ass herb of its day. And that lets us now be able to kind of check it out. So you got a bunch of cats fucking popping about, and we got dudes coming in. It's Caleb behind. We got a bunch of people coming over, and they're not here to support me.
There he is.
Highest critic in the room. They're not here to support me. There's Alex Sherman behind us. It's purely, I wanted all these people that I really respect as people to say, hey, listen, come over and check it out. And if you don't like it and you think it's fucking bunk, you have the ability to say so. Right? You're not here
Road
to support
trip
my
to
argument.
Maine in a blizzard.
Yeah, you're here to go fucking hang out. That's why when people hit me up, I'm like, just come by. Like, it's not so secretive. We're not trying to have a secret society.
People are snowshoeing in.
So that we can then fucking manipulate the sale. It's the opposite. It's that we're not selling it right now. We're going to figure out what to fucking do with it. And we'll figure out what to do with it correctly, so that when we do make these decisions, we really know how to best optimize it. And I was just like, why can't we have a good time? And then the toad venom shit popped out, and it's fucking hysterical. And then this got linked into it, where it's like toad venom fucking 0.2, you know? But it's not. It's not. Like, there's no competition. There's nobody else has got the cut. And we're not trying to do any kind of weird shit, just because we're trying to understand, like, how do you do what you're supposed to do with all the information you have? So I'm going to let you guys bounce, man. I got to jump off, and we're going to go fucking do this thing. But thank you so much for letting us pop on.
Enjoy it. And
I'll
I
let
guess
you,
Travis will be there tomorrow.
We'll all get together at some point. Travis will come by tomorrow. We get to blaze some, and
Super
we'll
stuff.
figure out how to get together and get a little sesh go, just so you guys can enjoy it. I just don't want to mail it the fuck around, because it got fucking popped in the mail through a jar inside fucking sealed bags, right?
It is, and that is
It's a problem, right? So like, it's just not worth. It's just not worth it. So we're gonna figure out how to get some sessions in different parts of the country and shit, so that people can come in and just get a chance to check out shit that they haven't seen, which is kind of like with like Dave does with the pearls, where he really reintroduced an entire genre into California's market by saying, hey, look, we focus on these things. You need to pay for it because we can't grow it for cheap. But if you want ultra heady shit that without question is unique, we're doing it. And to me, I just love it. That's why I think he's a fucking great guy. He's got a good family and shit. So that's why I support him. And that's why we do like the reviews for the products. There's no money exchange. It's not business at all. It's just purely respect for somebody who had a desire to do something different, create a value for the consumer, and try to be able to control it so they can have the ability to get what they want out into the public. And that way the public gets the best product. And if you do it right, you're going to make plenty of money. There's no shortage of cash that'll come from the project. But if you just go after the paper first, you really fuck up. And what we've seen is all these different plants that hit the market, and the people that released them just didn't really quite know what the long-term value was. So they didn't know how to make the move. But we've been watching it for so long, and we've been involved in so many things that we have a pretty good idea of, like, just slow the fuck down and take your time and do some thoughtful work and create some relationships with other people that do interesting things, so that it allows you. And I just, like I said, I reached out to those two dudes because both of them are knowledgeable, smart guys. And I'm not saying they're the only two dudes I'm going to work with on hybridization. It's just those are the first two I reached out to because I think both of them hold some really high level material and have a long history with that material. So they're able to really, it's not just two dogs fucking, but you're able to say, look, my dog brings these traits. And that way, when we do the selection, we're able to really make refined decisions on what we're trying to do. So it's going to be a really fun project, and I'm just really happy, man. It took a long time to find this type of fucking aroma profile with that high, and it's actually got a better flavor. It's definitely got more nuance in the nose, and it's got a dry. It's a really nice plant, period. I don't give a flying fuck if it had any aroma. It's fucking killer herb, but it's got a deep fucking funk that just penetrates. So it's been a long time since I got to play in this room, and I'm pretty fucking happy. So much love to you guys, and thank you to the audience for always being supportive. And we're gonna figure out how to have some smoke sessions so that people can get together and burn a little bit of fucking high end old school, so that they don't feel like they're being cut out of it. And herbs does what it's supposed to do, which is fucking bring us together, not drive us apart. So, out.
Very cool.
Right, later.
Peace, brother.
Thank you, everybody, for
See
their
you, Charles.
And just thank you.
All right, man. Be good.
Don't eat too many pizzas today. You guys, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I felt like I was like, maybe you can't hear me. No, because I wanted to ask them. It seems like what they smoked, the dry was rushed. So my question was going to be, do they have any that's drying longer to get the smell they're going for? Right?
I know. I wanted to ask the same thing.
Travis, that can be your question for tomorrow. Is there any part of that harvest that is still drying?
That's what I'm hoping.
Curing.
I was kind of hinting at it. Hopefully there's like an outdoor batch or like the previous batch, but you never know. Hard to know. Super Dank gets smoked up quick.
So Jeff, what is that you just opened?
It's some Sour D. I don't know if it's the original Sour D or the not so, but my buddy hooked me up with a little herbage. So
grown in Colorado or somewhere else?
Somewhere else.
Got it.
Close to the Gulf.
Nice.
I think I'm gonna hop off as well, fellas. Get back to the family. I'm getting yelled at for hanging out for so long.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for having me. And
all right, later.
I'll be listening for sure.
Go live tomorrow if you ask Kevin.
Absolutely, I'm gonna pretty much see what the.
You could just do like a wide shot and then like move into people when they're.
I'll check in and see if he has any ideas or like any suggestions, but definitely going to try to capture the moment. I feel like it's epic time in Canada.
All right, later.
And very much appreciated, Pete. See you guys. Peace.
See ya. All right, I'm going to smoke a bowl with you, and then I'm going to go water some plants. I was so high. I'm still so high, but
I know. I'm like this.
Earlier I was. I was gonna say, had I known Kevin would go strong for 2 hours, I was like, I want to eat mushrooms again and just have Kevin monologue.
Yeah. Dude,
so my only question so it seems like what I would have liked to seen is we're gonna get this out we're gonna free the profile, right?
Right.
But so it seems like the model is to have grow partners in different markets and control basically just grow it for rec market smoke, right?
That's what I kind of gathered from it. It's hard to say because it's like you want to analyze and preserve this trait, right? You got to figure out what it is. And then who do you work with to preserve this, right? Like, I think there's a lot. I don't know. It's one of those where I'm really curious, like, at what point do home growers get their hands on this to fuck around with it for a little bit? You know?
Well, so that's why the one interesting thing would be if you sequenced it and all that stuff and could figure out what gives it certain characteristics, and then that if that information is free and public, then people could theoretically hunt through other stuff to tease it back out from other sources.
Yeah,
right. To me, that's the cool thing, and like that's why the preservation, it's like when they talk about parts of the rainforest and like some animal or plant like goes extinct, right? You can never get it back and what it could have contributed to the gene pool. My little this is what I'm smoking next. Right there.
What is that?
It's an heirloom Afghani.
Ooh.
So I moved from Nepal to Afghanistan.
There we go.
I was getting too stupid high. I needed to like change directions a little bit. So that it looked like where Travis was, because my mom and brother in Rhode Island got dumped on with snow. It looked like it was sunny, right?
Yeah. That's what it looked like to me too.
Yeah, it's like, I would say almost 80 degrees here in LA. Sunny.
It's like 62 degrees here today. It is wild.
Spring has sprung. So I wanted to bring this guy, Alex, on, who Dwight connected me with, who sent a whole bunch of genetics in to talk about him.
What did he send? I like that.
Let me see. And then I need to do, yeah, Copa sent in. I know that's all the Copas. Oh, here we go. So here's a super silver. So Pacific Apple Haze. God damn, my vision's terrible now. Hold on.
Yeah. Mine's getting there.
Edit. 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 So this one's a super silver haze crossed with sour apple with triangle kush. There's one that's an Afghan crossed with Northern Lights, and then crossed with an Aspen OG, crossed with a High Country Diesel. And then there's Strawberry Cough crossed with Strawberry Diesel as the mom, and Strawberry Kush as the dad. And then Cam, Free Thinker sent in a bunch of sour stuff to give out to people.
Oh, that's what's up.
So I wanted him to jump on. Because then I had all these other seeds from him that I've been looking through. And I think, yeah, I'm excited to look through some of that stuff. All right, I am gonna go water plants and yeah, I've sent some people stuff that I labeled as burnt rubber and I want feedback on it. So if you've gotten those seeds that just say burnt rubber number 6. That was from
And those were some you made?
someone no, they're from someone in the community who gave me some, and then I had someone else make more of them because I didn't have very many. And I've been giving some out to people because I haven't grown it. I want to get feedback from people on it.
Got you.
All right. Sorry, so that your rule, that's the sour.
Yeah, this is the sour, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different kinds. So I've got a Runts, an Amaretto sour, a Sour D.
Sorry, all from the same person?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you can, and this is the first bag you've opened up, or you've already got. Okay.
Yeah, I moved them all into jars, but this was the first one I was opening up when you asked. And it's not anywhere like because I sent him the original Sour D cut, and then I sent him the Not So Dog Sour D cut, and they are very different. They're both gassy. This one is much more piney.
Sorry, which cut's this?
The original Sour D. Like it's not even close to what the Not So's is. I haven't tried his Not So, but this doesn't smell anything like the Not So cut that I had. So now I'm really excited because that Not So was nice, dude. I really like smoking that. Like I could smoke it in the morning and then all day. But it had more of like that sweet red dye diesel smell, and this is way more piney. So I'm curious. I've not gone down the diesel rabbit hole. So when it comes to like sours, like Sour D's, I couldn't tell you like which one I think is the real one. I can just tell you which one more closely resembles what diesel and bad diesel would smell like. Right? When you hear sour diesel, you think of just really bad diesel fuel. So that's what I look for when I'm smoking sours. I'm like, if it's fucking just putrid old ass diesel, then that must be it. And that's just it. There's a ton of different diesels. I don't know what's what. I just know what I like, and we'll find out if this is one I like. And I need to critique my buddy.
Need to give him constructive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
It is an extremely nice day in LA.
It's nice out here. It's a little cloudy, but 60-something degrees, I'll take it. Damn it, I got like instant cotton mouth from that. It's just after talking about skunk all morning, this really just seems to kind of fail in comparison.
Yeah, so I guess my question it would be, do they have other stuff that has been curing longer?
Yep. Because that's at the
Hold
end of
on
the
one
day, like
second.
if you got stuff that's like 6 month, a year old, and you dried it proper and it's holding that fucking loudness and shit, then God, there's so much. And that's why to me, I'm like, the process can go faster if more people like are fucking with it. But at the same time, you can't trust everybody because they'll let it out, right? Like, I that whole predicament's interesting because yeah, everybody wants it. I want it, but nobody gets it until it's been stretched out. I don't know. I'm curious. There's so many questions about like what tests have been done. Like, have you stressed this in other ways other than speed drying? There was so much, just getting into, well, we've only ran it under single ended. Like, well, okay, so how do we get it under LED and see what happens and see where that goes? You know what I mean? Like, so
No,
much.
sorry, I tuned into the second part of what you said, but if you were talking about kind of like taking that plan and seeing where it excels, or if it excels in multiple
Yeah,
environments and with like all these different variables.
yeah, yeah.
And then, because I think the point was like whatever partner you pick has to kind of like do what's best for the plant, even if it isn't their style, right? Like
Yep.
if they're like, we're an indoor hydro grower, but it shines best as outdoor, whatever, or vice versa, that whoever they're working with in a market does it that way because that is the best representation of the plant. Because if you don't, then it's like, oh, this is like, what's the hype, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, well, they didn't do it how we told them to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's that process. Well, and I kind of brought that up. I was like, okay, so when I have a cut, we can talk about the differences in these environments, but you can't really talk about that until you put them in those environments. So,
Did he say he had tried it under LED or he had never tried? Okay, so he doesn't know under other, he just knows that what he's doing makes it happy.
yep, yep. And that's what kind of led into the terroir conversation where I was like, when you're handing out cuts to people, or people are like, oh, I'm about to spend $1,200 on this cut. Like, you don't know if it likes where you're at unless you're emulating the breeder's entire environment. Like, so it's kind of like, if this was to just get let out based off of hype, then it falls apart, right? Like they sell a cut for
Wait, what?
250. Oh, okay, I'm back. I got a phone call. But as I was saying, like if they were to sell a cut for $250,000 and the people get it and they're growing it under LED and an Athena system and it doesn't show up the way they were expecting, like then everything falls apart. But as of right now, if they were to sell the cut, in order to get the hype, they have to be like, well, you got to be under single-ended HPS in this system and this system, but they don't know what's going to happen if you deviate from that. So I'm like, there's this importance of R&D as well as like getting the information while it's fresh, right? Like don't change anything until you have all this information. And then once you have all this information, that's all the data sets that Kev was talking about. So then once you have all that information, then it's like, okay, let's change one variable and collect more data. Let's change one variable and collect more data. And you can smash that out really organized, but it takes forever. Versus if a handful of growers, like home growers, are smashing out all of these different environments at the same time, now you have multiple samples to run data set like against each other and the original sample. But that's risky, right? You can't just hand it out because then people get it out and then it loses its value. So it's this like quadruple edged sword, it seems like, when you have something that's rare and you want to preserve it, but you also need to make some money off of it. And that's because if you don't, then your shit just gets copped. You know, it ends up like, I guess, this toad venom fiasco. So I don't know. I'm really curious to just watch and see. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'll get to grow this skunk or some variation of this skunk like a few years down the road, right? And I think that's kind of where everybody in the chat should be like aware is you're going to get to experience this in a hopefully in like a stabilized variation or in a cross where it shows up proper. I think that's going to take some time.
Did he talk about the backstory of the seeds? Like, has he been growing this stuff for a while, or did he just recently start growing this? Does he know the background of the genetics?
I was trying to ask all that, and Kevin kept going, wouldn't let me. But at the end of the day, I know this popped up. This was found right around the time I got off all social media. Like, Charles had just found it, like, it was over a year ago now. They had just found it, and Charles was slowly releasing information. So I don't know how prior to that. But I remember seeing posts about it when I was getting off Facebook, and I came back a year later, and it's still running. So I know they've had it in cultivation, plant form, for at least a year. The story I have came from somebody's closet. 1 out of 7 seeds popped. That's the extent I think that I think we all kind of have been. I think Kev kind of mentioned the closet, 7 seeds, 1 survived kind of thing. So as far as genetics go,
and that was okay. I think I vaguely remember this. So basically, this plant is like the one surviving plant. Okay.
Sorry, my buddy who dropped this is calling me to make sure I got it.
You're like, I'm smoking it right now.
I know.
That's funny.
Yeah. So the history, I was really hoping to get Dude, because I don't know when again we'll be able to chat with him, but I was really hoping to kind of get any backstory beyond how did they get to the closet.
If Travis is watching, hopefully he can remember to ask this question tomorrow when he's with him in person, which is the backstory on all this, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's his mission if he chooses to accept it, or that has been bestowed upon him and he doesn't have a choice.
Yes. Well, I always like get-togethers where everybody's just smoking good weed.
Yep. Same.
So I'm sure they will have a good time, as they are right now, right? There are a bunch of them there right now too.
I know. You could catch the fucking vibe.
You got the whole weekend and an Airbnb.
Yep.
In Rustic, Maine.
Yep.
That's fun. All right. Well, I'm also, what is it, 11:30? Okay. All right. Everyone have a good one. Jeff, have a good one.
You too, brother. Everybody have a good one.
Enjoy. You can give us the report on as you've smoked your way through all the crosses.
Yeah.
Later.
Later.